Authorities had enough officers on the scene of the Uvalde school massacre to stop the gunman 3 minutes after he entered the building.
The only thing stopping a hallway of dedicated officers from entering room 111 and 112 was the on-scene commander, who decided to place the lives of officers before the lives of children.
Texas Department of Public Safety Head Colonel Steve McGraw testifying today at a state Senate hearing that the door to a classroom was not locked as officers with rifles stood and waited in a school hallway for nearly an hour for a key, while the gunman carried out the May attack that left 19 children and 2 teachers dead. A rally on Wall Street today, the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ currently higher. America's listening to Fox News.
Is your current home loan the right fit for you? Rising home values mean that you could have more home equity than you might imagine. And if you're considering a refi, an expertly chosen loan from Loan Depot could save you thousands. Ask about their smart term loans, cash out, and over 300 loan options to find just the right mortgage loan for you. Call now, 866-888-LOAN, or go to loandepot.com. Loan Depot, where home means everything. Rates are subject to change. Equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 174457. Licensed in all 50 states.
Giving it your all on the court? Make sure you have the right partner by your side. Highland's Leg Cramps Quick Dissolve Tablets, America's #1 leg cramp relief solution for over 10 years. No water needed, no stomach upset, just fast, effective relief. Also available in caplets. Highland's Leg Cramps, to healthy competition and beyond. Available at Walmart, Walgreens, and CVS. Claims based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's back. Summertime. It's sunny. It's hot with increasing humidity this afternoon. 95 for the high. Tonight, clear skies, warm and humid. 72 for the overnight low. Evening temperatures taking a drop out of the 90s, though. It's a slow process. Tuesday, pure summer. Sunny, hot and humid. 100 degrees Tuesday afternoon. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Right here, right now. Here's 97.1 insider Jessie Jane Duff.
We've got Supreme Court justices with their life being threatened, and we have had little or no coverage on the major news networks, NBC, ABC, CBS, about the Supreme Court justice who had an assassination attempt against him. It was like item number 23 in the Washington Post.
It's happening right here, right now, where St. Louis comes to talk. 97.1 FM Talk.
You know, one thing businesses have to deal with now is negative reviews online. And so you could have one misstep or not even mess up at all and have one person review you negatively, and then the whole world sees just that one review. Well, I actually went online to look at the reviews of Fountains Family Dentistry, expecting that, well, maybe there would be 1 or 2 of those on there, but hopefully, you know, finding mostly what I'm telling you every day about them. 115 patient reviews is what I found. I didn't find a single one that was negative. Most awesome and most relaxed office ever. Nicest people is one that I highlighted. And that's true. It's from top to bottom. Dr. Ty Parker sets that atmosphere in his office so that you feel relaxed when you come in. So if you have dental anxiety or anything like that, there's really no better place to go, especially on the Illinois side, than Fountains Family Dentistry. You can make an appointment right online, and it's easy to get to from no matter where you are in Illinois or in Missouri, because it's right off of Highway 64 and 159 in the Fountains Plaza right there when you get off the highway. FountainsFamilyDentistry.com.
Updating your home with James Hardie Siding has never been more popular. With all the options available, you need a partner to ensure you maximize your investment. Siding Express is ready to refresh the appearance of your home or totally transform the look by installing Hardie Shake, Board and Batten, lap siding, or a stone accent to make it your dream home again. Siding Express is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor. They also carry Anderson and Marvin windows and doors. Need ideas? Go to sidingexpress.com and schedule a free, no-obligation consultation today. sidingexpress.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Path Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Would you like a cleaning product that can be used in the garage, the laundry, and the kitchen, and save space in your cabinet? Hi, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green. To learn more, visit us at simplegreen.com.
Men suffering from ED or PE, Paramount Men's Medical Center is featuring Restore Wave, the latest in non-invasive ED treatment. You'll see results on your first visit or pay nothing. Call 314-720-8093. That's 314-720-8093.
Mark Cox.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brian Kilmeade.
How about this?
Annie Fry.
Wow, we really got to change course.
Mark Reardon.
Coming together.
Dana Lash.
I mean, it's 2022.
Listen on the Odyssey app and rewind whenever you'd like.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Well, happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for tuning in to 97.1 FM Talk today. So I spent my morning, I threw this out there yesterday at the very end of the show because I wanted to make sure that I got the details before I did and had them right. But this morning at 8 a.m., I went to a prayer rally at the Glen Carbon Library. Today, they had a drag queen named Maxie Glamour who did a reading for kids at the Glen Carbon Library in Illinois. And, previous to this particular event that the library put together, they had another event with the same drag queen who's a from what I understand, did some of my own personal research just to kind of get more context to the whole situation. Well-known, successful St. Louis drag queen. There's a whole industry of this culture. I know people who love going to drag shows in Alton. I know people in St. Louis who have enjoyed the idea of drag, so on and so forth. What is the necessary connection to taking that culture and putting it in front of kids? Why is it that we need to bring that part of adult culture right there in front of children? There are things I've been talking about this a lot lately because I just feel like we've gone through such a movement of, and I gotta say, it was definitely after I was in high school and college. It's a body positivity movement. It is a self-acceptance movement. It is important to make sure that everybody knows your biggest, I'm going to say vulnerability, but some might feel personally like if I were talking about mine, like I'm going to call it for me specifically, like my biggest weaknesses. And I've discussed it here on this show before, but I consider myself to be a very introverted person. Might come as a surprise to people who know that I speak to tens of thousands of people every day for 3 hours on the radio. How could I possibly be an introvert? I have a level of anxiety that in my past rises when I'm around people in small groups full of small talk. I've definitely grown to understand that about myself, and I've used the understanding about that of that part about myself to make myself a better person. Being introverted by nature doesn't mean you're incapable of being extroverted. Doesn't mean that you don't like the scenarios you're in where you're being pushed to be extroverted. I'll tell you this, more often than not, when I am put into a situation where I have to do that extroverted thing, I realize this is not as bad as I thought. That like all the working up I did to that moment where I was going to feel that pressure, it's never as bad as it is. And you have to kind of identify within yourself the things that aren't the way you want them to be, or the things that are just who you are. That you just accept the idea of who you are and you work with what you've got. This is that mentality kind of spawned out of I graduated high school in 2002, college in 2006. And there was, I guess, a push towards that kind of a movement. I got to say it was after college, because we still had a lot of pressure to be like some sort of like unattained. Oh, I know what it is. It's social media. Ding, got it. Because I didn't have social media. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg is, I think, a month younger than me. He invented the Facebook.com when I was a sophomore in high school, or in college, excuse me. And so was he, at a very much more prestigious college. So it has to be social media, where more people were seeing real people out there. And all of a sudden you realize that all of the images that you have had thrust in your face for your entire lifetime of people who have been slicked over on glossy pages and magazines. I mean, we don't even have magazines anymore. They exist. You look at magazines, you just look at them on the internet. There is a push towards this body positivity movement, I believe, kind of having this thought out loud with you right now, because social media quickly gave us just a constant scroll of what everybody else was doing. And there are studies after studies after studies, and just within the last year or so, congressional hearings about how the constant scroll of everybody's picture perfect life on social media makes you feel like your life sucks. Why? Because you're only seeing a snapshot moment of somebody's day. At least when I was in college, and maybe just thereafter, was a real snapshot of their day. And then ever since, they have gotten to the point where you filter everything and the lighting has to be right. Like, I am studying the posing of these high school girls in their prom dresses, because I'm like, how do you do what you do to pose? I look like the Hunchback of Notre Dame when I pose for photos for social media, and I don't know what I'm doing. And I am clearly standing next to people in other photos who do. And I'm just like, gosh, I need to go to posing school, and it's going to have to be taught by a 15-year-old. The world that's presented to us is not a realistic world. And thus was born a body positivity movement. But as is everything else, this body positivity movement, the reason why it's mainstream is because companies latched onto it and used it to make money for themselves. They used it to sell you stuff, which is the exact same thing that they were doing when they had everybody being a size 00 and 5'10" with long, blonde, flowy, perfect hair. It's the same thing. They just move the pendulum to the other side. All of these images and these feelings, they're selling you emotions that you can only attain after the transaction of your money for their product or service. So the acceptance of who you are as a person, good start. I've always been somebody who was a size 10 or a size 12. I played 4 sports in high school. I was somebody who probably weighed 30 pounds more than anybody else in my class, fit as could possibly be as a 4-sport athlete. But I just am a stronger girl. It's just who I am. Comparing who I was maybe on paper to another girl was not healthy for me. And I really hope that there are strong elements of this body positivity movement that stick, because I got 3 daughters and, yes, a son. It matters for boys too, where they're encouraged to be okay with who they are because they're beautiful, all of them. When the marketing campaigns, when the advertising boardrooms get a hold of things like this, they can't be using the status quo to sell stuff. They've got to go and do the next thing. and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. When it comes to this morning in my neighborhood on the Metro East side of the river in the Edwardsville Glen Carbon area at the Glen Carbon Library, I got to be honest, when you got a drag queen coming to a local public library and they want to sit down and talk to people about activism and about their lifestyle, if people want to come experience that, who am I to say that should not be allowed? But as a tax-paying resident of that county, as somebody who's invested in that community, why are we taking that a step further and doing that in front of kids? It's not even specifically about the idea of drag queens. I mean, those are the details of this day. Why are we taking children and pushing these types of things into their face at young ages? Why are we doing this on a public scale? I don't understand it. I was a YMCA volleyball coach for like second graders. Highly skilled position, I might add. We weren't too bad. When you volunteer at the YMCA, you have to fill out paperwork to become a mandated reporter. You have to clear a background check. They make you take what amounts to probably 90 minutes of seminars, watch videos, learn how to assess situations, understand what is age appropriate for kids to be exposed to, and see the signs of children who might be being exposed to age inappropriate things. And then they say you are mandated to report it to coach YMCA volleyball. Why are we paying people in our public library to present themselves as who they are? Listen, folks, if that's who you are, that's a you thing. When you bring it into a community that is my community or a community that is your community, and you bring in children to it, I'm asking the question, why are we bringing sexual identity into a place to be discussed the way it is? This is not a normal, healthy understanding of the way kids should be reared into this part of their lives. Again, and this is probably stupid of me to be saying this out loud for all of St. Louis to hear, because I'm going to get hate from both sides of the aisle on this. Because listen, if Maxi Glamour or whomever the drag queen is, who that's how they're living their life, if they want to come to a public library and the public library wants to support them and the people who are funding that public library don't have a problem with it, and they want to come discuss activism, that's super great. Maybe I'll go speak at that library and discuss activism myself, and I'm sure I would be welcome and paid the exact same amount as the drag queen to just go talk about what it is we do with people who want to know more about my lifestyle or want to know more about what my exposure and understanding of activism is. If I want to be able to go do that, I have to also be open to the idea that somebody who is living a different lifestyle than me, somebody who is doing something that is what I don't agree with. I do agree with the First Amendment, and I think that they have the right to do that, and I have the right to do that. But I can't imagine a scenario where a public library hires me to go speak to your kids about personal things that have to do with my sexual identity. I don't even like saying that out loud, because I think there are kids in the car right now that are listening and you're like slapping the radio off right now because you don't want to expose them to that. Why? Because even though you and I might have the exact same train of thought on this issue, it's your job to talk to your kids about that, not me. They're your kids. They're not ours. They're not mine. But I do, of course, have my own. And you better believe that that is my job. My choice to keep my kids home from something like that and to discuss it. There's an event going on in the community. Some people agree with it. Some people don't agree with it. I get the opportunity to talk to my kids about that, and I will take that opportunity to discuss it if it comes up in our home. But what is so necessary about bringing in front of young children at a story time? Why the kids? Ask yourself that question. Expose yourself to what's going on in your community and ask yourself the question, why are we doing this to the kids? Because if you want to keep this conversation, this is where people aren't going to like what I'm saying, but I want you to hear me out. I support people's right to say things I don't agree with. I support people's life choices that I don't agree with. And if it conflicts with a different part of my life, I will handle it in a way that different part of my life tells me to handle it. I will pray about it. I will ask for understanding. I will work to show those people kindness in a way that makes them consider wanting to know more about me and why I am the way I am. There is infinite curiosity that exists on that side of the issue that is being pushed and peddled by incredibly prominent people in this industry, the media, the politics. There is an incredible, unsatiable curiosity. But on the other side, the side that I happen to reside in, pretty boring, standard, Christian, conservative, suburban mom, minding my own business in Southern Illinois. It's the opposite of curiosity. It's the threat that I better keep my mouth shut. And I won't. And I didn't this morning. We gathered together 2 hours before the event was to take place, prayed for 20 minutes, sang a couple songs together with strangers. I would say there were at least 80 people out there, and dispersed. It was peaceful. Our voices were heard in more ways than one. We're going to take a quick break here, just around a minute or so. And when we come back, Richard Irvin joins us. He is a candidate for governor of Illinois. And you and I both know that we need a significant change at the top of the way this state is going, state of Illinois. And Richard Irvin wants to be that guy, win the Republican primary. We're going to talk with him in about 90 seconds. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie. Pajamas in the daytime. Decision 2022 is happening. Are you ready to decide? The primary candidates are here because they want to talk to you. Decision 2022. Coverage sponsored by Air Comfort Service and TR Hughes Homes.
So the custom organization that this St. Louis family-owned and operated business, Closet Factory, can provide for your home will, this is a stretch. They're not paying me to say this part of it, of course, but it will gain your sanity back. At least that's what it did for me. Giving us a place to put things in a crowded house with my dozens of children, making sure that everything has a place to go when before it was chaos. We have 3 bedrooms, 4 kids that we need to fit them in. And folks, listen, when they came into my house, Candace specifically to our house, came in to give us the free consultation to look at our spaces. They gave us suggestions that we weren't even thinking about that completely transformed the way that we live in our home. They will do that for you as well. Talk about your home office. If you've been doing remote work, establish it as an official home office for you and enjoy your time in that space. Your garage, get it organized, get it cleaned up. Your mudroom, your pantry, and of course, those closets. 314-961-4300, 314-961-4300. You can find them online right now at closetfactory.com.
This is Judge Mike Carter. As the judge of Wentzville and an attorney, I've had the honor of working with Lincoln County Prosecutor Mike Wood and St. Charles Prosecutor Tim Lomar. We all share a great respect for the rule of law and keeping our families and communities safe. As your next Republican state senator, I'll oppose those who want to defund and tie the hands of our police. I'll protect our Second Amendment rights and see that strong laws are in place to dissuade those who think they can come here to break into your car or home. I'm Mike Carter, and I want to earn your vote to be your Republican state senator. This is Judge Mike Carter, Republican candidate for the new 10th District State Senate seat. I believe strongly, as I know you do, in safeguarding our personal freedoms and securing our rights as guaranteed under the Constitution. I'll put my knowledge and experience to work for you, protecting those rights, opposing tax hikes, keeping families safe by opposing those who want to defund the police, making small businesses and family farms a priority, and safeguarding our Second Amendment. I'm Mike Carter, and I hope to earn your vote to be your next Republican state senator. Go to MikeCarter.com to learn more. Paid for by me, Mike Carter.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFreyShow.
Governor Pritzker shooting down all the speculation that he may be considering a run for president. Questions started swirling about that because of a trip to New Hampshire over the weekend. That state has traditionally been the first state every 4 years to hold a primary. Pritzker was invited to speak at the New Hampshire Democratic Convention, but he says he is not planning to leave Springfield for Washington.
The truth is that I'm going to help other Democratic governors get elected. I can't tell you anything other than I love the job that I have. It's why I'm running for re-election as governor of our state, and I intend to continue to do a good job for the people of the state for the next 4 years.
Governor Pritzker is not going to leave Springfield for Washington. Does he even know where Springfield, Illinois is? Because it's south of Chicago. I'm just saying. Speculation that this man is going to run for the presidency. Would that make Illinois better? I can't imagine that it would. It would definitely make the country worse. Let's talk to Richard Irvin. He's the mayor of Aurora, the second largest city in the state of Illinois, and he would love to take J.B. Pritzker's spot at the governor's mansion. Thanks for coming on with us, Richard Irvin. Always great to have you here on the show.
Hi, how you doing, Annie Frey? Good to be back on.
Thank you. Doing okay. You know, the primary is Tuesday. That's when it ends. I want to encourage people to go vote right now in their lunch break if they have time to do it. But we've been watching your race, and I've said the entire time, every single candidate in the Republican primary to win that nomination is infinitely better than J.B. Pritzker. What's your assessment of that situation and the importance of beating J.B.?
You know, I agree with you. Any the Republicans that are running would be a heck of a lot better than what J.B. Pritzker has done to the state. Under J.B. Pritzker, crime is out of control. Taxes and wasteful spending is out of control. Corruption is out of control. And we got to take a different direction. You know, we got to take this state back. We got to rise up and recognize who we are as the state of Illinois. But to answer your question even in more detail, the reality is every time you turn on the news and turn on the television, you see me on there. You see these negative ads that are being run against me. Now, J.B. Pritzker is on track to make an historic and something that is going to go down in history in the United States of America and in all of our history. He is on track to spend $35 million against me, only me on the Republican side. $35 million, bringing me down and lifting one of my lesser opponents up and trying to pick the opponent that he faces in the general election. This has never happened in the history of our country where a Democrat would be meddling in a Republican primary and spend that kind of money trying to pick that person. So I'm hoping as we get out there and spread our word and our message that people recognize that we can't be letting Democrats pick our Republican opponents that are going to go forward and face him, because he's going to pick the one, of course, that he can beat easy. And the reason he's spending $35 million against me is because he knows when I get to the general, I will beat J.B. Pritzker and we will have a new governor come November in Springfield. Actually in Springfield and not hanging out in Chicago.
That's good to know that you invest your time in there. If you won, would you live in Springfield?
Yeah, absolutely. But what I do is I spend a lot of time throughout the state, and the central and southern portions of our state have been neglected. So I'd make sure that I spend just as much time in central Illinois as I did in southern Illinois, as I did in Chicago and in the suburbs. It's important for a governor to get out throughout the state and let every resident of the state know that we are one Illinois, and that the governor thinks that every part of the state and everything that the state has to offer is important, to that governor. And J.B. Pritzker does exactly opposite. He has disregarded central Illinois. He has disregarded and pretended like Southern Illinois doesn't even exist. I was traveling through Southern Illinois, East St. Louis, when I came to, be on your radio show, and I was traveling over near Harrisburg, and all through Southern Illinois, and it's struggling. It doesn't have any economic base. That just happens to be my background as the mayor of the second largest city in the state of Illinois. We've done more economic development in my first 4 years as mayor than other mayors of Aurora have done collectively in the 40 years before me. That's exactly what we need for the state of Illinois.
We're speaking with Richard Irvin, a Republican candidate for Illinois governor, former prosecutor, mayor of Aurora, Illinois. And you can learn more about him and their website at Irvinborn, Bourne, irvinborn.com. So I'm glad you brought up that negative campaigning that J.B. Pritzker, the Democratic Party, has certainly decided to spend their money in the Republican primary and see what kind of work they can do. I want to read from you a message I got to the show, my Facebook page on Facebook, obviously, just yesterday. Hi, Annie. I live in Illinois. I, like yourself, are very concerned about our state and invested in the governor's race. She goes on to say that feeling has turned into frustration and anger as we watch all of the horrible mudslinging. How do we sort through it all? At this point, I don't want either of the two leaders. This bashing is just going to poison our party and probably hand the race right over to Pritzker. They won't have to do any research. They can just save all the horrible mailers about the opponent and resend. I get them all, Mayor Irvin. I see them in my own mailbox. I have a stack of them sitting next to my refrigerator. And I notice that a lot of them are being paid for J.B. Pritzker, but a lot of them are also being paid by your campaign against Darren Bailey. And I just want to know, since you were criticizing the J.B. Pritzker, the Democrats meddling in this, the negativity has come from all areas, including your campaign.
Well, look, this is about comparing records. And if you compare my record, my record will stand up and beat anybody's record in this race. And, it's just about pointing out folks' records. I was attacked by all sides. Matter of fact, even referred to as Satan by Darren Bailey before I even formally announced that I was going to run, which is when they heard that I was going to run. And as I said, when we compare records, my record will beat anybody's record. As a combat veteran, as a former prosecutor who put criminals behind bars, as the mayor of the second largest city in the state of Illinois, the proven track record of reducing crime, reducing property taxes, attracting business economic development and new residents. That's what we need for the state of Illinois. And I think what Republicans have to remember is for a Republican governor to win Illinois, they're going to need, in a general election, you're going to need Republicans, you're going to need independents, and yes, you're going to need Democratic crossover. So the only question our Republicans have to ask is who will be able to do that? Get Republican support, independent support, and Democratic crossover out of Chicago, especially in the minority African-American Latino neighborhoods. That's going to be me because that's the kind of neighborhoods I grew up in. Don't let J.B. Pritzker and his $35 million negative campaign decide who the Republican opponent's going to be, because he's not going to pick the one that's going to give him the biggest challenge and beat him. He's going to choose the one that he can beat easily. A vote for J.B. Pritzker's candidate, who he chooses, is a vote to reelect J.B. Pritzker. Simple as that.
So when the mudslinging goes on in the primary, I've told this because people ask me, Annie, where's the truth? What can I believe? And I said, it's not like this is going to stop after the primary is over. J.B. Pritzker is slinging mud in the Republican primary, as well as the Republican primary candidates against each other. This is going to elevate past the primary. What do you expect to see from J.B. Pritzker towards you that you want to get ahead of right now when the Democrats and the Republicans are facing off after next Tuesday? What kind of stuff is going to be out there right now that you want people to understand what the truth is?
Well, when you look at the truth, all you got to do, you don't have to take my word for it. All you have to do is look at my background. Look at my record. My record is a guy that, served our country and went to war for our country in Desert Shield and Desert Storm. A guy who was a prosecutor that worked side by side with the police to keep our communities safe and improve the quality of life. A guy that was an alderman and then became mayor of his hometown with a proven track record of reducing property taxes, reducing crime, making education better. All that people have to do is look at the actual records and what people have accomplished. And my accomplishments are exactly what we need, for the state of Illinois. Everything that I've done has prepared me to be a very good governor of this state. And no other person on the Republican side can boast having that kind of background and that kind of record, which is exactly why J.B. Pritzker is spending so much money to ensure that I don't get to the general election. He's forecasting. He's telling everyone who he's most afraid of. He's telling everyone who his worst nightmare is. And it's me, based on the fact that he's spending $35 million, a historic amount that has never happened in the history of our country ever. He's telling people who he thinks will beat him. People just have to listen and not get fooled by all the silly negativity and the conspiracy theories.
You know, Richard Irvin joining us right now, Republican candidate for Illinois governor, definitely one of the leaders in this race, along with Darren Bailey. The two of you seem to be taking turns there at the top. You talked about education, and that's a very important thing for me as somebody in this state who sends my kids to parochial school, and that's a personal Christian. You know, our family's a Christian family. We've done that before. I felt like public education really, really took a turn. I'd like to know what some day one decisions that you would make with the powers that come with the governor's office. Can you tell me, including the education system, some immediate changes you would make if you're elected governor?
Let me tell you what I did when I became mayor, and the same thing we need to do when I become governor. We created what's called an education commission, bringing the leaders of school districts, our superintendents and different principals. We brought them all together of all our different school districts to share ideas, share best practices, share resources, so we can all be working on the same, rowing in the same direction and make sure we provide an opportunity for our kids in their future. The first thing that I do as governor is get rid of our Illinois State Board of Education director and get somebody in there that actually cares about our children's future. And we have to focus on not just the college track. We've got to focus on the labor and trades track. We got to focus on the IT track to give our kids an option. Not every kid's going to go to a 4-year college and get a 4-year degree, but we still have to provide for their futures. And we've got to restore our parents' voice and rights in our kids' education, period. And that's one of the things I do with the Education Commission.
Yeah, you know, I think that's such an important thing for people to understand is there are powers that come with that office of the governor. J.B. Pritzker has very, very much so flexed his muscles on using his office to try to articulate pressures on the people of the state of Illinois. And when you talk about parental rights and education, that's what Ron DeSantis did in Florida, and it created a whole thing down there. People changed the name of the bill and used that to get a national campaign against Ron DeSantis. It didn't really work against them in the end. Would you support a similar parental rights in education bill in Illinois that looked a lot like what DeSantis did in Florida?
No, absolutely. You know, I can't think of when my daughter or sons were growing up and going through college that I wouldn't be able to, or their mother wouldn't be able to be involved in their education and have a strong voice and what their kids do. Now, as my son got older, when he got to high school, I sent him to a Catholic school, Marmion military school as well. And it was my choice. But I want to make sure that those public schools still provide that same good quality education that our kids need and focus on the things that are important: reading, writing, arithmetic, and get rid of this. Stop talking about CRT. Stop talking about, who's going to play on, different sports and whether or not this bathroom. Why are we focusing on that? Why are we focused on making sure that our kids have an opportunity to compete on a global level by focusing on those things that we know get them there: reading, writing, arithmetic, and even STEAM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, things that make sure we can compete, as well as those kids that aren't going to go to college, focus on, labor and trades, and even IT and development, which you only need a certificate for. These are the things we got to make sure we provide opportunities for our kids for, and to give the parents the opportunity to speak on behalf of their children when their children can't speak for themselves.
We're speaking with Richard Irvin. He is the mayor of Aurora, Illinois. He's running for the Republican candidacy in the Illinois primary taking place right now. Culminates on Tuesday. For Illinois governor, irvinborn.com is the website. We're having discussion in the United States Senate about potential federal action on gun control. And Illinois is a very punitive state, likes to stand strongly in between law-abiding citizens and their Second Amendment rights. Do you support the FOID card, and what would you do in Illinois to fortify those Second Amendment rights for citizens?
Listen, I'm a lawyer who believes in the importance of the Constitution. The Constitution is the bedrock and foundation of our democracy. I believe in the Second Amendment. I own guns myself. I'll be the first one to tell you the FOID system is broken. Matter of fact, when over COVID, my FOID card expired, and it took me a whole year to get a new one. A whole year to get a new one. And the FOID system, I can tell you from experience, is broken because as mayor, we had a mass shooting here in the city of Aurora, where 5 Aurora employees of a factory came in and got killed by one of their fellow employees. 5 cops ran in to save more employees from getting killed. And those 5 police officers took bullets themselves trying to save others, and they did save others from getting shot. But that man had a FOID card that was given to him by the state of Illinois, even though he had a felony conviction in another state, in another southern state. Now, that should not have happened. Our FOID system is broken, and we've got to fix it. Simple as that. But let me say this.
Yeah,
as
go
a
ahead.
prosecutor, I'll tell you that, and someone who practiced law for a number of years, the law-abiding citizen, law is only applied to law-abiding citizens. Criminals, by their very nature, don't care about the law. If they did, they would not be criminals breaking the law. So if creating more laws is not going to stop the issues. It's enforcing the laws that we have now and holding people accountable and actually keeping people in jail, which J.B. Pritzker is not doing. Matter of fact, he just signed a bill, a new law that says now that when people commit these gun crimes, they don't even have to post bond anymore. They just get out of jail. And that goes in effect January 1, where all the people that are in jail now, 10 to 12,000 people throughout the state of Illinois, are just going to purge back out into our communities because J.B. Pritzker is letting them go free, period.
Yeah, you're so right on that. We've got to start prosecuting criminals for committing crimes instead of protecting victims from those criminals. I got one last question for you. I asked your opponent, Darren Bailey, when he was in the studio, the exact same question. There's a lot of speculation out there due to one of the ads that we've run on this station quite a bit, suggesting that he voted for Biden. And I asked him in 2016, who did you vote for? And he told us. And in 2020, who he voted for? And he told us. So I'm going to ask you the same question if you will give us an answer. In 2016's presidential election, who did you support?
Listen, I am Republican. In general elections, I always vote for Republicans. It's simple as that. I've been a Republican my whole political career. The first office I ever held was as a Republican committeeman. My grandfather taught me when I was a young man the conservative values that I live by today. If you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you teach him to fish, he eats for a lifetime. What we have to be using is our conservative principles so we can step up, teach people how to fish, not give handouts, but give hand up to teach people to stand on their own. That's what I'm about. And let me just say this last thing before we close out. I won't talk bad about my Republican opponents, but J.B. Pritzker's forecasting who he's most afraid of, and that's me. He's lifting up Darren Bailey to say that Darren Bailey is the one he wants to face in the general, because he knows that the person that wins this election is going to have to get Republicans, Independents, and Democratic crossover. He doesn't believe Darren Bailey can get that. Neither do I. But I will be able to get that and beat J.B. Pritzker. A vote for Darren Bailey is really a vote just to reelect J.B. Pritzker. J.B. Pritzker's telling you that because that's who he wants to face. He doesn't want to face me. So I'm asking folks to go out in a week on June 28th and vote for the Irvin-born team so we can rise up and finally take back Illinois.
Irvinborn.com. So last question for you. Did you vote for Trump in 2016 or 2020? It's a pretty yes or no question.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a Republican. I always vote Republican in general elections.
So you voted for Trump?
I always vote Republican in general elections. Absolutely.
Okay. Richard Irvin, mayor of Aurora, Illinois. I want people to feel if you're motivated to go vote. Based on this interview, Richard Irvin is on the ballot as a candidate for Republican governor in the state of Illinois, and that ends on Tuesday. Is there anything people can do specifically to support you right now other than just to show up and vote?
Well, go on our website, at urbanborn.com, as you pointed out earlier, and spread the words. Take your family, take your friends, take your neighbors. Let them know that if we want to win this election, it's about electing someone who can actually beat J.B. Pritzker. I've never suggested I'm a perfect person. I work on myself every single day. But I have a particular talent and background that will get the job done, and I will work hard every day on behalf of the residents of Illinois to get things done and make it happen. And J.B. Pritzker's telling you who he's most afraid of. I'm his worst nightmare. We all on the Republican side are his worst nightmare. Let's get together, rise up, and let's take our state back together.
Richard Irvin, thank you so much for the time today. I stand by my statement. Every single candidate in this race is better for Illinois than J.B. Pritzker. And we're so glad that you've given our audience so much of your time. Thank you for being here today.
You're very welcome.
All right. Bye-bye. Irvinborn.com, Bourne, Irvinborn.com. Go check out his website if you would like to learn more about that candidate for Republican governor of the state of Illinois. Man, we have an opportunity in front of ourselves, folks, and I hope that you have taken the time to study it up and go vote and take a friend. Make friends and then take them to go vote because the time is right now. We're going to take a quick break and get Ryan Wiggins in here as fast as possible so we can get to Wiggins America up next. Don't go away.
I've wasted time, I've wasted breath. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. I need to move, I need to fight, I need to lose myself tonight.
The Mark Reardon Show. Jason Plummer, he is an Illinois state senator. We need to make sure that we stand up for common sense laws that protect the worker, but also protect businesses from extortion-style lawsuit abuse.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Lakeside Renovation and Design. Man, you are looking for someone to take care of that project at your house. I already know that. Everybody is, right? You are looking for someone who's going to come in, and the reason why you haven't made the phone call yet is because it's stressful and it costs a lot of money. And I want to tell you why you should consider Lakeside Renovation and Design for this project. First of all, they have amazing 0% financing options that are going to help make this project more affordable so that you can do it the way you want to do it, not have to cut corners. And secondly, a lot of times if you are looking to, save money here, save money there, and you don't have that financing opportunity because it's not with a bigger vendor or service place like Lakeside Renovation and Design, you get what you pay for. I want to explain to you why Lakeside Renovation and Design is priceless. When they come to your home and they're going through the kitchen remodel and they are taking the stuff out of your house and putting the new stuff into your house, every single day, they are going to care for your house like it is their home. They are going to make sure that this is as anxiety-free as they possibly can. They care as much about your experience while they are working there as the rest of time that you will take baking cookies in that kitchen, making Thanksgiving dinner in that kitchen, so on and so forth. They invest themselves into it, and it shows. Lakeside Renovation and Design is the best. Give them a call to start the conversation about the project you've been dreaming of. 636-978-5000, 636-978-5000, lakesiderenovationanddesign.com.
Feeling the pinch of higher prices?
Golden Oak Lending can save you money with their low fixed rates.
James Hawkins here, president of Golden Oak. You can offset today's high prices by using the low interest equity in your home to pay off credit cards, make home improvements, or simply put cold hard cash back in your pocket.
Start saving money and skip 2 mortgage payments. Call 314-567-GOLD today.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
This is Judge Mike Carter. I'm running for state senator here in Lincoln and St. Charles County. You may not know, I also run the Cowboy Judge Show on ABC on the weekends. You can go to MikeCarter.com and actually check out all the episodes. Like recently we had Mark McCloskey, that pink-shirted guy in his front yard waving his gun around with his wife while the folks paraded by. I happen to be a big Second Amendment supporter myself. That was a lot of fun. And we recently had Jay Ashcroft on, our Secretary of State. He's got a name that's been in Missouri politics for a very long time. Go to MikeCarter.com and check it out. I'm Mike Carter, and I've spent a lot of time in the state capitol, not as an elected official or paid lobbyist, but on my own time to urge elected officials to stop cities using red light cameras to rip off drivers. I'm the only candidate who knows what it's like to try to get the attention of elected officials when you don't come with armloads of cash. I've seen a Missouri legislator sitting in his office as his aide shut the door and said he wasn't in. I'm Judge Mike Carter, Republican for State Senate in District 10, and my door will always be open to you. Go to MikeCarter.com to learn more. Paid for by Team Mike Carter, Mike Carter Treasurer.
Station KFTK, an equal opportunity employer, is dedicated to providing a broad outreach for job vacancies at our stations. We seek the help from local community organizations in referring qualified applicants to our stations. Community organizations that wish to receive our job vacancy information can reach out to Frankie Fan at 206-577-2432. In addition, all listeners are encouraged to visit Odyssey.com for an online listing of job vacancies of all Odyssey radio stations.
Home values are through the roof, with buyers paying way over asking price. You'd love to cash out your home's equity, but you're not quite ready to move, and soaring interest rates make cash out refinancing too expensive. Plus, you'll only get a fraction of your home's equity. It makes no sense. I have a smarter option, Truehold.com. Truehold will buy your home for full cash value, and here's the best part. You get to bank all the cash now and continue living in your home as long as you want. It's life-changing, and Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance, too. Let's review. Truehold pays you 100% of your home's value in cash fast. Use your cash to do everything you've dreamed of: travel, pay off debt, or buy that new right-size home on the golf course. Call 855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com for the smarter, faster way to cash out your home's full value without having to move. 855-300-9993 or go to Truehold.com.
Did you know there's a Space Channel?
One of the most exciting projects in the solar system.
Space Channel's got movies, original series, news, music, and so much more.
We have come to visit you in peace. Now we're getting to what they call the moment of truth.
Download the Space Channel app on your connected TVs and mobile devices. Just go to the App Store and search Space Channel. Do it now. It's free.
Space Channel. Front row seat to the final frontier.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Laurie Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
If you're retiring soon, join us Saturday at 9:30 a.m. for your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. In addition to heating and cooling, Air Comfort Service also offers indoor air quality, water heater, and AeroSeal duct sealing services. Get in your comfort zone with aircomfortservice.com.
Information to keep you moving. Dependable traffic mornings and afternoons with Sue Thomas. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company, the best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
Anyway, hi, Ryan Wiggins.
Hi, crew. Hi, Annie.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Let me say it like Rob Kimmer. Hi.
Hi. Well. Good to see you again today.
It's nice of you to say. Let's just say nice things to each other for 3 minutes.
You're a neat gal.
And then at 2, we'll even it out. Yeah? A neat gal?
Mm-hmm. You don't get that a lot, do you?
You know, when you get to be old enough that people start calling you ma'am, there's no equivalent to sir.
Were you ever offended by being called ma'am versus miss by somebody who was clearly younger than you?
No, not offended. Definitely shocked.
Really? Because I still do that. I still mess that up when I'm talking to somebody. I say miss or ma'am, and then I go, oh, I don't even know. I didn't recognize their age, and I feel bad about it, but it's never intended.
There was, you want to do Wiggins America at 145 or 125?
That's fine.
Okay. There was, we're being photographed right now.
Yeah.
And we're trying to act so natural that we're panicking.
Yeah. Hey, look at my hands. I'm just talking on the radio. There's nobody taking pictures of me.
Hi, Anna. My husband was I remember a Pizza Hut in Little Rock going to visit my husband's uncle. And the Pizza Hut waiter, this was when my husband and I had first started dating. So he was like maybe 22 or something. I don't know. And this waiter was just treating everybody normal, but kept calling my husband Chief.
Oh yeah, no, that's like, a different conversation.
I know, but the whole time it was going on, he would call him Chief. And my husband, like, if you know Jared, which you guys know Jared, he's not really like a hey Chief kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. Would you say I am? Because I am not, but I think you would say that I am.
I would pay a waiter to call you Chief on the side just to watch that.
Yeah.
But I mean, through the entire meal, ma'am, would you like some more Diet Pepsi. Yeah, I think. What about you, Chief? Like the whole time.
And he was younger?
He's 22.
So he was a little
really
young,
good
yeah.
looking. That's when we were dating. He's still good looking. I just said that wrong.
wait. The waiter?
The waiter was saying that about my husband.
I know.
My husband.
I was asking about the waiter, and then you said really good looking.
Is good looking.
Okay. What did the waiter look like?
I have no idea.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
I have no idea.
Okay, that doesn't really factor in the story. I was just wondering.
You want to know if he was hot?
Well, I wanted to know if he was young. Yeah, I did. I want to know if he was younger than your husband.
No, probably
does that
the
play
same
into
age.
it? Okay.
No, it's probably the same age. There are questions definitely about what was going on there,
Mhm.
and Jared was just like, he didn't know what to do.
Do you think was he demeaning your then boyfriend, trying to make you like him?
I don't think that I factored into the whole
Really?
situation very much.
So he wasn't. But wait, was he playing kind of? I'm bigger than you.
I don't think my husband was the threat in this
Okay.
3-person situation. I think maybe I was.
Wait,
Chief.
You were the threat. That's what I'm saying. You were the threat. So he was
Brad,
trying to impress
you.
you.
Want to draw? Can you mansplain this to?
I don't know if I can
Ryan?
because I don't know how you are a threat in that situation.
I don't either. That's what I'm asking.
Because he was calling your husband a name, and it wasn't sir. He's calling him chief. But
Were you waving your fists at him?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
But he just called you ma'am.
I don't know what he called me. He was not interested in me.
Oh.
Oh.
Well.
Okay.
This is the slowest radio show on the history of the planet. We'll be back at some point. You guys, seriously.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Since 1978, Andrea's Food Group, which includes Andrea's Steakhouse in O'Fallon, Illinois, has had Andrea's Brush on Steak Sauce. And since then, it has just expanded and expanded outside of this area internationally to become a famous steak sauce that's made right here in St. Louis. So I encourage you, if you've not tried it, to try a bottle of Andrea's steak sauce. Last night, we had pork tenderloin. Meat prices have been going up. This is one way to kind of offset buying. I hate to say this, but it's one way to offset buying bad meat. Because if you put Andrea's sauce on it and you bake or you grill with it, like I said, brush on steak sauce, it's going to make that meat better. It's going to sort of get into the porous nature of the meat and tenderize it as you're cooking it and make that taste flourish. And just imagine if you have good meat. Like I said, we did that with pork tenderloin last night, and it couldn't be easier. It couldn't be better. Andrea's steak sauce at Schnucks and Straub's and Dierberg's, and of course at the restaurant and at Andreas.com.
I'm Mike Carter. There are a lot of politicians in Washington who will never get it about the hardworking people of Missouri, that we love our country and our flag, family, faith, and freedom are worth preserving. Those who come to our country should do so legally. Parents have a voice in their children's education. Police officers are the good guys. And we're not giving up our guns. If that offends the media, too bad. I'm Judge Mike Carter, Republican candidate for state senator in the 10th District. Go to MikeCarter.com to learn more. This is Judge Mike Carter. I'm running for Senate here in Lincoln and St. Charles County. What you may not know is I run the Cowboy Judge Show on ABC on the weekends. You can actually check out all the episodes at MikeCarter.com, and you might see Mike Wood, Lincoln County prosecutor, Tim Lomar, St. Charles County prosecutor. We actually talk a little bit about Pam Hupp and the things that they have to do on a regular basis to keep us safe in our communities in Lincoln and St. Charles County. The Cowboy Judge Show on ABC on the weekends. Go to MikeCarter.com and check it out. Paid for by me, Mike Carter.
Nobody wants to miss the important things in life, and if it's because of bad vision, you don't have to. Mark Cox here from my friends at Brenton Vision. They can help you out. That's why I want you to take 2 minutes today to call my friends at Brenton at 314-375-2020 or go online to BrentonVision.com. Your eyes are as unique as your fingerprint. Since Brenton Vision is the only place in Missouri offering all 7 forms of modern vision correction, they can create a customized treatment plan just for your vision. They helped my wife out. She chose the lens replacement therapy and now sees better than ever, and she loves it. You can have that same experience with Brenton Vision. They accept flex plans and medical spending plans as well at Brenton. So don't let that money expire or go to waste. See your best. Do what we did. Call Brenton Vision at 314-375-2020 or schedule online right now at BrentonVision.com.
KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk.
An Odyssey station. criticizing the response to a school shooting. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. The head of the Texas Department of Public Safety today saying law enforcement authorities had enough officers on the scene of the Uvalde school massacre to stop the gunman 3 minutes after he entered the building.
There's compelling evidence that the law enforcement response to the attack at Robb Elementary was an abject failure and antithetical to everything we've learned over the last 2 decades since the Columbine massacre.
Colonel Steve McGraw testifying today at a Texas State Senate hearing that a door to a classroom was not locked, and officers with rifles stood and waited in a school hallway for nearly an hour, waiting for a key while the gunman carried out the May 24th attack that left 19 children and 2 teachers dead. State elections officials are testifying before the House panel investigating the January 6th Capitol violence today. At the hearing, the panel's focusing on pressure put on officials by the Trump administration to overturn the results of the last presidential election. The Minnesota Supreme Court today ordering the city of Minneapolis to immediately hire more cops or prove why it can't, after residents sued 2 years ago after hundreds of officers quit following the death of George Floyd.
The Minnesota Supreme Court ordering the city of Minneapolis to immediately hire more cops. The order after residents sued in 2020 in the wake of a mass exodus of hundreds of officers following the death of George Floyd, the riots, and calls to defund police, most notably from Minnesota's U.S. Rep. Democrat Ilhan Omar.
We need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department.
Crime in the city continues to skyrocket. The High Court ruling that Minneapolis Mayor Democrat Jacob Frey has a clear legal duty to maintain at least 731 officers. Though
Fox's Jeff Bonasso. America's listening to Fox News.
If you're in the market for a new home or your dream home, go with a lender you can count on for competitive rates. Over 300 loan products and thousands of loan consultants to help make sure you get the home and the mortgage that you want. Call now to see if you're pre-approved. 866-888-LOAN. 866-888-LOAN. Or go to LoanDepot.com. Loan Depot, where home means everything. Rates are subject to change. Equal Housing Opportunity Lender. NMLS number 174457. Licensed in all 50 states.
Giving it your all on the court? Make sure you have the right partner by your side. Highland's Leg Cramps Quick Dissolve Tablets, America's #1 leg cramp relief solution for over 10 years. No water needed, no stomach upset, just fast, effective relief. Also available in caplets. Highland's Leg Cramps, to healthy competition and beyond. Available at Walmart, Walgreens, and CVS. Claims based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's back. Summertime. It's sunny. It's hot with increasing humidity this afternoon. 95 for the high. Tonight, clear skies, warm and humid. 72 for the overnight low. Evening temperatures taking a drop out of the 90s, though. It's a slow process. Tuesday, pure summer. Sunny, hot and humid. 100 degrees Tuesday afternoon. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Think about it.
Think about all the different controversies that are out there right now. And then there's the controversies that are just fun. That's where I kind of put Elon Musk.
Talk about it.
A lot of these employees believe Twitter's job is to guide conversations that people are having. Elon Musk feels that shouldn't be the case at all. You know, that kind of really describes a much larger discussion that this nation is having right now.
Where St. Louis comes to talk. 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, St. Louis, it's Michael Mohan with Community Mortgage. The real estate market is as hot as the center of a freshly cooked toasted ravioli, making this a great time to use the equity in your home for a cash-out refinance, to upgrade your outdated kitchen, or consolidate your high-interest credit card debt, saving hundreds each month. If you're in the market to purchase a new home, don't trust your loan to an out-of-state call center or online lender. Call me. Call Michael Mohan at 314-336-6050. I want to save you money on your home purchase, refinance, or debt consolidation, and put my 20 years of local loan experience to work for you. When you call, you'll speak to me, and I will tailor a loan to fit your needs. So call 314-336-6050, 314-336-6050, or online at communitymortgagestl.com.
Community Mortgage LLC, 224-143, NMLS 250353.
Red Brick Roofing, wherever you live, from Bridgeton to Baldwin, Brentwood to Kirkwood, St. Ed to St. Charles, wherever you live. Hazelwood to Maplewood, the name you know. Frederick Roofing, wherever you go. Or a hole in your roof, or a whole new roof. Frederick Roofing.
St. Louis, 314-645-2000.
Frederick is the gold standard for roofing and perhaps priced a bit lower than other bonded and insured roofers. When you invest money into fixing a hole in your roof or putting on a whole new roof, you want the peace of mind that you'll get only with Frederick Roofing. Plus, you can always depend on an immaculate cleanup when the job has been completed by Frederick's own licensed and insured crews.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof. Frederick Roofing. Frederick Roofing, 645-2000.
Hi, this is Curtis Barks. I am the owner of Complete Auto Body and Repair, here to tell you about our touchless automotive service. If you're experiencing the constant struggles of having the kids home from school or just want more of that family time where you can listen to them teach you about what they do every day, we provide touchless automotive service, return the vehicle to you clean and ready to go in the comfort of your own home. Check us out online at CompleteAB.com for more information. If it's not perfect, it's not complete. Others can't compete with Complete Auto Body.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He's fixing the cars.
Men suffering from ED or PE, Paramount Men's Medical Center is featuring Restore Wave, the latest in non-invasive ED treatment. You'll see results on your first visit or pay nothing. Call 314-720-8093. That's 314-720-8093.
Members of Children's Miracle Network hospitals treat more than 10 million children each year. Your local member hospital ensures that every child receives the best possible care. Show your support at cmnhospitals.org because kids can't wait. Visit cmnhospitals.org.
Odyssey.com is a universe of audio, and it's where you can download the app to stream 97.1 FM Talk. The Odyssey app. Download it today and stream anytime from anywhere. Where St. Louis comes to talk. 97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
It's a great honor for me and nice to see you. It's really wonderful. You're my hero. You're amazing. Yes. No, as you quit a great acting career for this.
Not so great with you.
No, but pretty great. But what you've done and the way that you've rallied the country and what, for the world, it's really inspiring.
It's really inspiring. That's President Vladimir Zelenskyy in Kyiv being told of his heroics by Ben Stiller. Okay, maybe there's a proper application for this. We saw Sean Penn was there early on, and I mean, what he was there doing, my understanding was filming some sort of documentary sort of thing, so documenting what was going on, and that was really in the beginning. But what is the purpose of any non-dignitary celebrity type going to meet Zelenskyy and really kind of having a PR tour while they're doing it? Maybe there is an applicable reason for this, and Jim Carafano would be the guy to know. He's on with us right now, a leading expert in national security and foreign policy with the Heritage Foundation. Jim, Ben Stiller, what do you think about that?
Well, he's going with the UN role. These things are largely symbolic. One, and two, honestly, if you're thinking about the future of rebuilding your country and everything else, I don't think the UN is the place you really want to be anyway. So I'm of two minds on this. On the one hand, we are hitting kind of Ukraine fatigue, and it's very clear that this is going to be a chronic war. And so Zelenskyy has to keep the issue in front of the public. On the other hand, meeting with celebrities, this isn't going to really do it long term, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's really got to focus. I think the time to be, if I were advising him, I would say the time for kind of running around and speaking at the Golden Globes or the Oscars or whatever is over. The only thing that's going to sustain support for Ukraine is serious leaders, and he ought to kind of give up on the PR thing, because I don't think the PR thing alone is going to sustain global interest and support for Ukraine.
Jim Carafano with us right now. I mean, you said the words Ukraine fatigue. That when this happened initially, everybody was on the edge of their seat, and there was 24-hour coverage for days and days. And, people were leaning in and waiting to see what would happen. Ukraine didn't fold. And here we are in the middle of June, still seeing this conflict exist. You just said the word chronic. What is needed? Because if Ben Stiller is over there, then the American public interest seems to me that is what is being pursued. What is in the American public interest to be paying attention to this?
There's basically three things. First of all, the reason why the United States is engaged in Ukraine to begin with is not about the Ukraine. It's about Russia's grand design for Europe, which is reabsorb the post-Soviet state dictatorial control over Central Europe, push the United States to the sea. Essentially be a stalking horse for China, isolate the United States. But this is not a good outcome. So we want a Ukraine that can defend itself. But where do we go from here? And so there's three things, and then we've talked about it before. One is America has to become energy dominant and energy independent, in part because we have to help Europe get off of Russian energy so they can't blackmail the West. And that's one. The second thing is NATO has to be able to demonstrate it can defend itself. So Putin never even thinks, after he rebuilds his military, about trying to do something to a NATO state like he did to Ukraine. That's two. And then we should. It is in our interest to see Ukraine defend itself and rebuild. How do we do that long term? That, I think, is the big question. I mean, one of the problems I had with the Biden thing, which is you don't just write blank checks and throw money at the problem, which is apparently the Biden answer for everything. Bankrupting the United States isn't going to help Ukraine. So it requires a real seriousness of effort. And that requires leaders to sit down and say, okay, roll up their sleeves and decide, what are we really going to do to help the Ukrainians ensure that they can defend themselves long term? And then it has to be matched with an equal commitment in Ukraine to rebuild the country, fight corruption, defend themselves. And that willingness and spirit seems to be there. We have to reinforce that. These are very, very hard tasks. And I don't mind if Americans get, Ukraine fatigue. I mind if our president gets Ukraine fatigue. And has attention deficit disorder, which I kind of worry about.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do as well. We're speaking with Jim Carafano with the Heritage Foundation. We have been watching the resilience of the Ukrainian people, but we have also to be watching the strength of Vladimir Putin and Russia, and just right next door to President Xi and China. What is the strength of Russia right now after this conflict has gone on longer than anticipated, and how does that relate to China?
Well, I mean, the strength of Russia is always a strength. People are still buying Russian energy. And Russia is still blackmailing and threatening people with that. And the other thing is Russia can always go back and rebuild and rearm its military and come back again. So that's the long-term problem we have to take off the table. And look, I've always said the way to deal with Russia and China is really simple. You make Russia a less valuable ally for China. Russia's big contribution to China is that they can destabilize Western Europe. As soon as you take that off the table, Russia is more of an albatross than an assistance. So that's kind of the answer.
Jim, I want to shift gears a little bit here and talk about home front stuff. And, when it comes to law enforcement issues and security issues in our country, we've had such a conflicting message from leaders, elected officials, as to how we support law enforcement and Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, and all of the things, all the political phrases. But watching the police response at the Uvalde school and what we continue to see revealed there is a huge, huge problem with that law enforcement response. And I'm curious, where is the breakdown in your mind when you're a security-minded person?
Oh yeah, it's pretty easy actually.
Okay.
So look, law enforcement is you're interested in competence and capability. What we saw there was super clear. The response to an active shooter incident is, it wasn't like it was, 30 years ago when Dog Day Afternoon was a movie, right? When, people take hostages and the police surround the building and try to talk them out. That scenario has been thrown out the window. In an active shooter incident, and this has been, very clear since like days at the shooting at Virginia, University of Virginia, when there's an active shooter involved, the police immediately rush in and try to take the shooter down. That is the number one. You do it as soon as you get on scene. You do it as quickly as possible. That clearly did not happen. So the number one failure was a failure in public safety, that nobody should have easy access to a school or other sensitive area like that. So the school is deeply at fault for that. The number two is when there's a shooting incident, you do an appropriate active shooter response. It's very clear they did not. So, we're all running around screaming about gun control, but the number one and number two failures here are not even on the left's radar screen. The kinds of things you do to stop bad people, right? I mean, and my thing is, when I dealt with terrorism for years, people would say, "Wait, is it a dirty bomb or airplane flight?" And my answer is, don't focus on the instrument, focus on the perpetrator. If you stop bad people, it doesn't matter what their choosing instrument is. And so we have a failed public safety response. We had a failed police response. And to me, it's really interesting now seeing because we're right in the middle of primary season here, and I get commercials from, Maryland and Virginia and everything else. Is the left, all these candidates rushing in and say, well, I'm going to fund the police. And it's literally, they changed their tune because there's an election.
Yeah.
Literally the same people who were screaming, defund the police, and they wanted to get rid of law enforcement. And now they're only saying they want to support law enforcement because there's an election. This is just nonsense.
Yeah. You're so spot on too with, understanding the mind and the motivations behind the person who wants to affect the kind of evil that we saw in Uvalde. Like you can change the instrument and the intention is still there. I mean, the latest breaking news, I don't know if you've heard this quite yet, but a Texas official, according to Fox News, says Uvalde classroom door was unlocked, but no officers tried to open it as they waited for the keys.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's mind boggling. It's mind-bogglingly wrong. So there you go. And here, I mean, I don't want to take it back to the White House, but my concern when you said what about the future of Ukraine, I'm not concerned about the American people. I think they're very reasonable about these things, and I've always thought if there's an anti-Ukraine or anti-fatigue in the United States, it's really less about Ukraine, and it's more about not really having faith in our commander in chief. And so I worry. That's why I worry about foreign policy. But let's take it back to domestic policy. The same thing. What did the president of the United States do? Did he start talking about solutions, or did he jump on his political agenda? And now we're all we're sitting around debating a bill in the Senate that hasn't been written yet on gun control, which wouldn't actually do anything to address the issue here, and two, doesn't even really address the issues that were discussed there. How useless is that?
Yeah, it's all campaign. You see people say we can't wait for the next one. We need to do something right now. But even just the action of a politician going and doing something right now doesn't mean said action is going to affect any positive change whatsoever.
Well, the sad thing is we don't need to wait for the next one. We have a long history of active shooter incidents, and we know a ton about how do we prevent them. The number one thing is you have responsible public safeties. If you have large public gatherings, or you have areas like schools or malls or other things where you want it. So that's number one. Number two, if an incident happens, you have an effective law enforcement response. That's number two. Number three is look, we have a mental health safety net in this country. It's incomplete. I'm not a fan of red flag laws. I don't even think they're constitutional. But when you get obvious evidence of both motive and intent and capability to commit a crime, and you don't loop in law enforcement in response to that, or try to have a mental health intervention, then you're wrong. So these are the things that if we take every incident that we've ever had, are the places to look to solve the problem. And instead, Biden is like, the guy, the police goes up to the guy and goes, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm looking for my keys," because it's the middle of the night. And the guy says, "Where's your car?" He goes, "Well, it's down the street." He goes, "Well, why are you here?" He says, "Well, there's a street light here." I mean, Biden has a policy, and it doesn't matter what the problem is. He goes to the street light, which is his leftist policy. He says, "Oh, this is what we need to do, whether it's inflation or energy or public safety or guns." And the reality is we ought to do things that solve people's problems. And we have a president that refuses to do that. So, I mean, again, I'm not trying to be partisan and say, y'all voted for the wrong guy. I'm just pointing out the obvious here, which is when you have somebody who's proposing policies that don't solve your problems, you are the problem because you elected the person.
Yeah. America has a lot of attention to be paying here in the coming years to know, even at the most local levels, who's in charge of running these types of security operations and at the highest levels as well. Jim Carafano, your expertise is always welcome here. We're always glad to talk to you.
Thanks for having me.
We'll have you again next week. Leading expert in national security and foreign policy at the Heritage Foundation, Jim Carafano, right there. Let's take a quick break. Ryan Wiggins is going to get back in studio with us here a little bit earlier than usual because we kind of bumped his Wiggins America segment a little bit later. We had Richard Irvin on at 12:25, had a really good conversation with him and gave him the opportunity to speak on a lot of the issues that are out there facing the governor campaign for the Republican nomination. Illinois primary taking place on the 28th. That's Tuesday, but early voting is open right now. And I asked him the question, if he voted for Trump in 2016 or 2020. If you want to hear that interview, we'll have that posted shortly, if we don't already, or on the Odyssey app, just rewind the radio, which is awesome, to 12:25 when we began that interview. And you can hear the whole thing. We'll be back with Wiggins in studio in a minute. Don't go away.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
All I wanna be is done.
The Eric Greitens Synod.
I'm Eric Greitens, Navy SEAL, and today we're going rhino hunting.
He's talking about it here.
What you're seeing is a tremendous amount of faux outrage from leftists and rhinos.
97.1 FM Talk.
Go Google the Bagelone. I mean, I could save 60 seconds here and just tell you to Google the Bagelone, and you could find out all those details. You already know what the Bagelone is. The Bagelone is synonymous here in St. Louis with saving money. And when you go to do your refinance on your mortgage, biggest bill you probably have, make sure that your mortgage is working for you. If you've got equity in your home, most people do right now. If you have equity in your home and high interest credit card debt, do not miss the opportunity to use some of that equity to pay off that high interest credit card debt as rates continue to go up and up, and make sure that you are in a better financial situation. Now, going back to the Bagelone with Stewart's American Mortgage, why choose that? Because there are a lot of people out there right now who want to push you to do that refinance. Because when you go with the Bagelone at Stewart's American Mortgage, it's called the Bagelone because it looks like a zero. Zero in fees, zero in underwriting fees, appraisal fees, title fees, lender fees, closing costs. It can save you thousands of dollars in your home purchase or in your refinance. You can trust Stewie with the whole process. I have myself, and I trust that you can give him a call to find out how he can help your situation. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Google the Bagelone, NMLS number 226715.
Mark Cox here. Join me as we head to enchanting Germany to see fairy tale castles like Neuschwanstein and picturesque Bavarian villages, medieval Munich, the world-famous Hofbrauhaus, even Mozart's Salzburg in Austria, too. Join me this fall, $49.49. That includes your airfare. Call 888-733-9494 or go online today to conservativetours.com. That's conservativetours.com.
Diabetic neuropathy, cold feet, resting leg pain, foot wounds that don't heal. These are classic signs of peripheral artery disease, or PAD. Left untreated, PAD can lead to gangrene and even lower limb amputation. Modern Vascular is a healthcare leader in the outpatient treatment of PAD. Last year, over 10,000 patients across the country chose Modern Vascular for the diagnosis and treatment of their PAD. Modern Vascular clinics consistently receive high Google review ratings and have received over 500 five-star patient reviews in the last 12 months. In fact, Modern Vascular has been recognized as the best PAD treatment
treatment specialist in the country. If you or someone you love is experiencing the symptoms of PAD, don't ignore it. Visit modernvascular.com today or call 844-4PAD-HELP to schedule a consultation in our local clinic. That's 844-4PAD-HELP.
Recent impacts with inflation, ongoing COVID concerns, and geopolitical conflict have us all and the markets on edge. Heisey Advisory Group understands the importance of having a customized strategy for retirement, especially during uncertain times, to help ensure these concerns don't have an impact on your retirement. Heisey Advisory Group is a St. Louis-based, family-owned and operated holistic retirement planning firm. Our team has defined a process that puts together all the pieces of the financial puzzle, working with all of your service providers to help develop an individualized plan that grows with you as your life changes and your needs evolve. If you're not confident that your retirement plan is on track to deliver the lifestyle you want amid historic levels of uncertainty, call us today at 314-328-6000. Again, that's 314-328-6000.
Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Firm provides insurance services. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through A Wealth Management, LLC.
Have you been waiting for the perfect time to get your Missouri medical marijuana card? Today is the day at 420id.com. Dispensaries are open and inventory is in. 420id.com is a BBB accredited business with over 16,000 happy Missouri patients. If we can't approve you, you pay nothing at 420id.com. Open late every day until 9 p.m. Sign up for your Missouri medical marijuana card now at 420id.com and use promo code RADIO for $30 off today.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Listen for the best. My reputation's never been worse, so you must like me for me. We can't make any promises now, can we, babe? But you can make.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
However, we do know this. There's compelling evidence that the law enforcement response to the attack at Robb Elementary was an abject failure and antithetical to everything we've learned over the last 2 decades since the Columbine massacre. 3 minutes after the subject entered the West Building, there was a sufficient number of armed officers wearing body armor to isolate, distract, and neutralize the subject. The only thing stopping a hallway of dedicated officers from entering room 111 and 112 was the on-scene commander, who decided to place the lives of officers before the lives of children. The officers had weapons, the children had none. The officers had body armor, the children had none. The officers had training, the subject had none.
This is the Texas DPS chief, but wait, there's more.
1 hour, 14 minutes, and 8 seconds. That's how long the children waited and the teachers waited in rooms 111 to be rescued. And while they waited, the on-scene commander waited for a radio and rifles. Then he waited for shields. Then he waited for SWAT. Lastly, he waited for a key that was never needed. The post-Columbine doctrine is clear and compelling and unambiguous. Stop the killing, stop the dying. You can't do the former unless you can't do the latter unless you do the former.
They entered the building and they stood outside of this classroom. The police response stood outside of this 4th grade classroom, waiting for 55 minutes for a key to an unlocked door. Ryan, if those are my kids in there, I'd have been dead trying to get in.
They didn't even try
to open the
door, which was unlocked, with the killer standing inside the unlocked door for almost an hour.
With kids, probably many who died immediately, but how many of them, if they would have had 50-minute earlier medical care, may have made it? I'm telling you what right now, the initial report of this incident as a mother is so gut-wrenching that I have to try to push it out of my existence and understanding, because mentally I can't process it. But at this point, if I lost a child, I would be done.
Politics go out the window in these situations. I mean, there's a lot of things I want to know a little bit more about, and this is really sort of the gory details, but from the time the killer, the kid, entered the building till the time that they killed him, when was he making most of those shots? Because if it was all right when he went in, there was nothing they could do about it. That's one thing. If he had, but it's like you said, even if there were kids in there with him.
Yeah, you couldn't possibly know they didn't enter the classroom. No, you go in and you put him down like the dog that he is.
Clearly. I'm just trying to wrap my head around what they possibly could have been thinking, because this is such a miscarriage of duty.
No sane person can wrap their head around this. There's no explanation. There's no explanation to this that makes sense in the process of what we're doing. There's no explanation.
Every single one of the parents standing outside with no training, they would have rushed in if there was even a chance that their kid was in that room.
I would have been dead trying. Weren't they tasing people? So many things have been said.
I think they did.
So many things have been said since that day that have turned out to not be true, that I am struggling to know, like, if I say something, do I know that to be factually accurate? Because everything that was being reported about the response initially was bogus, it seemed. Was it disorganization? Was it organized this way? What in the actual hell are these people doing, not going after somebody who is executing children? Who among them wouldn't just say, I'm sorry, I can't? Like, how would you stand there? Listen, I don't have it in me to I know that the job of law enforcement is incredibly difficult. And I know that on a sunny day with 75-degree breezy weather could be your last because something goes sideways. You didn't see it coming, even though you're trained to see it coming. You put your life on the line every day. But those individuals did not. They refused to put their life on the line. They put the lives of children on the line. And my question that I have no answer to is, for what? Maximum carnage took place. What? You've got a husband who happens to be border security, right? Who's getting his hair cut and grabs the shotgun from the barbershop. God bless Texas, because his wife calls. I believe I heard today she had been shot. Had she been shot?
I don't know about that one.
The wife, who is in the building, teacher, calls and says, this is what's going on. And he leaves mid-haircut, grabs the shotgun from there, and goes and takes care of business. He's a hero among so much weakness that it's not even fathomable to me. You've got parents standing outside the school, clawing, begging, pleading to go in and save these babies. Parents whose kids were, the school wasn't cleared out.
No. It wasn't just that one room.
People were still in danger.
It was the whole school.
But there were parents, weren't there, that were getting there and helping kids out?
Well,
not from that room,
from windows,
from
in
other
rooms. Places. But
these life or death moments. That's why I hesitate to criticize going in, but we're 3 weeks, 4 weeks past this thing now. So we have a lot more detail than we did. So at the time you hesitate because you're like, well, these moments, they happen so fast. And like we've all seen the videos of somebody pulls a gun, all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. You don't know what happened. Your training just supposed to kick in. But when you're talking about almost an hour of sitting there, what could you be thinking? The guy at the top who's running this operation, that guy ultimately is responsible for this. And that's what those sound clips said. And I can't remember the title, but they were saying this
Texas
guy.
Department of Public Safety chief.
Yeah, that guy who was on site and kind of given the commands to the.
That wasn't the guy that was on site.
So this was a guy offsite
He's
telling
responding.
them.
He's responding.
Providing information. He is the
No, not the guy speaking. He's referring to somebody,
yes, the on-site officer,
who's on site,
the commander of that officer,
who's giving all the orders to all these guys. But you're right. At some point, you go, well, what am I supposed to do here? I know what I should do. I know what I think I'm supposed to do. I know what my gut's telling me to do. But my commanding officer is telling me to sit here. There's a huge breakdown there, and the guy responsible for that. Oh my gosh, I don't know what you do. I mean, what do you do? Like, do you punish the guy now?
Heck, yes, you do.
You have to, right?
You have to.
At the very least, he can't keep his job. He's proven himself at the very least to be incompetent. You know, it's incompetence, cowardice, or maliciousness. Those are your three options of what happened here. And none of those three are acceptable for somebody to be in charge, be a police officer, let alone in charge. So he has to, at the very least, lose his job. And then they have to investigate and see if there's a prosecution that can be taken place, because this is unbelievable.
I don't know which of those three things I want it to be. Like Scott says on the Anti-Fry YouTube channel, not a conspiracy theorist, but this sounds fishy. Like, I'm not even going to go into the details of what this could be, but it's starting to get to be so obviously incompetent that it's almost beyond incompetence. What in the world? What's the explanation? Give us the explanation of why the decisions were made that they were, so that we can say, you made an absolutely horrifically terrible decision, but explain it. Explain what you did. That, folks, understand the difference between an explanation and an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
You remember the Parkland shooting that there was at least one cop, right?
One security officer on scene, and he did not pursue.
And he didn't do anything.
But
and
that
people
was
criticized that guy like crazy, but that was only like, what, 10, 15 minutes?
I don't remember the details that I wouldn't want to comment on them without knowing for sure. Parkland is similar in that, as they keep saying, the model after Columbine is you pursue the threat. You go, you do. You can't think. You have to go. That is why you were there.
Yeah.
You have to pursue. And in Parkland, this guy hid and did not pursue. And then law enforcement showed up, and by then so much had taken place. In this instance, they got there and they swarmed the place. They didn't even open the door. They didn't even check to see if the door would open. This Texas Department of Public Safety guy said this should have been ended in 3 minutes. And they didn't even check the door. They waited for a key to an unlocked door. And I'll tell you what, law enforcement around the country, we have them right now on our live chat on our YouTube page commenting on this. Nobody is more disgusted with this than people who know the protocol, who know the understanding, and are looking at this and have to be going, what the hell were you doing? To the same point, this person who was speaking before said, we set our profession back a decade. It might be decades, because Columbine happened in what, 99?
Mm-hmm.
We're better than this. That's 23 years ago. 23 years ago. And you can't tell me that those 55 minutes, and as he said in that statement, they waited for help for 1 hour and 14 minutes and 8 seconds. That's how long those people in that classroom waited for help to show up, and it was there on the other side of an unlocked door. I don't know that I've ever been this enraged about anything. How many of the children in there? I don't know what the situation was.
The
and
next
honestly,
part of the
I don't want to know, because I don't know that my heart can handle it. But could 50 minutes of time in an emergency room saved any of those lives?
We have to know that. They've got to look into that. There was so much bad information too that came out, I guess, from the police department initially in the first week. That was all false, because I remember hearing specifically about that unlocked door. I had no idea about that until today. That the reason they were unable to go in is because of safety protocols. You remember this, because they're supposed to have locking door, like things can go on lockdown really fast. Well, then if the killer goes in the room and it goes on lockdown, well, that makes it harder to get into the room. That's what they were saying. That was completely false. There was no reason for them to not go in.
You know, and on top of all of this, the Senate right now is putting together some sort of gun control package. You want to take the AR-15 out of the shooter's hand in Uvalde, we didn't even open the freaking door. We didn't even open the door. And politicians are going to rush to Washington, D.C. You know why? Because it's campaign season, because it's primary season, because there's a general election coming here in November. And they're going to all run and they're all going to do something. We have to do something. They don't care if the something is worth its weight in salt. They just have to do something. Why do they have to do something? So that they can get reelected. It all boils down to power once again. You got to do something because you got to stick it in that campaign commercial so that you can tell people when shootings were up, candidate John Smith ran to the Senate to prove that he wanted to end gun violence once and for all, and blah, 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 yada, yada. And he did something when nobody else was willing to stand up and fight. John Smith was. Vote for me. Rosy music plays. I mean, this is what this is the wash, rinse, repeat of these instances. Right 10 days before in Buffalo, we had a racist, maniacal psychopath shoot up a grocery store because he had hate in his heart and he wanted to mow people down who didn't look like him. That is a hate in your heart problem. And it is something that we need to get to the bottom of, and we need to solve it. And in the process of all of these instances that we can just stack to the heavens on top of one another, we're going to try to put AR-15s not in the hands of 18 and 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds, and then we're all going to pat each other on the back and say, good work today. That's going to solve the problem? Of course it's not. You know it, and I know it. And if they were to get to the bottom of the issue, the root of the issue, they'd have to dig. They'd have to get their hands dirty. They would have to pay attention to the human condition and how we treat one another and how we focus on one another and how we care about one another. But we don't want to do that because what we're supposed to all do is hate each other. We're supposed to divide each other, and we're supposed to look at each other from across the room and point our fingers and whisper between ourselves. That's what they want us to do. So that when your team, when your red jersey or when your blue jersey goes onto Capitol Hill and air quotes does something, you can point at the other side and say, what did they do? So you win on primary day, you win on election day, and you lose all the other days of the year. And time passes and kids die, and we're not even opening the unlocked door. We don't talk about the specifics about what's wrong in our country. We are such a broken society. We're terrible to one another. And we're scared. We've created a world that is questionable to even raise children in because we don't even know which way is up anymore. The most basic, obvious things that anybody would do. As an unarmed mom, keep me from that door. I don't understand. I can usually work and navigate and snake my way through an issue and try to understand just what was the thought process. I don't need to agree with it. I don't need to think that I would duplicate it, but I can understand it. I don't understand any of this. It's disgusting. And, this is one of those instances where the loudest voices on this issue, in my opinion, need to be law enforcement from all levels calling this out. And I don't know what the repercussions are going to be. If I knew the explanation as to why this procedure unfolded the way it did, would it be easier to understand or harder? I don't even know. But you can't go pound the podium at the White House and talk about how we need common sense gun control right now while we have complete and total incompetence in the way we're running our country and the way we're keeping our people safe. One of those is political, and it's going to cost us more lives in the end. It's so sad. It's heartbreakingly sad.
Okay. I don't, we got a break here, but I have a personal story about law enforcement that I would really like to share if I can. I can do it in probably 2 or 3 minutes. So maybe we want to do it on the other side of a break. I don't know. It's up to you, but
set it up and we'll come back and do it.
Okay. There's a reason this stuff. There is very much a political element to this, and it's related to funding, and it's related to training. And I know people who are in that industry, and I can share with you the difference between what it's like now and what it was 2 years ago.
Let's take a quick break. Ryan will share that with us on the other side right here. Don't go away.
Is it cool that I said all that? Is it chill that you're in my head?
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Cause I know that it's delicate. Isn't it?
The Mark Reardon Show.
Jason Plummer, he is an Illinois state senator. We need to make sure that we stand up for common sense laws that protect the worker, but also protect businesses from extortion-style lawsuit abuse.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
There's a clear choice for Congress. Mary Miller voted with the Socialist Squad to defund our military. Like Joe Biden, Miller coddles criminal illegal immigrants and says it's our responsibility to care for them. Ann Miller knowingly hired a convicted pedophile to be her driver and allowed him to prowl our neighborhoods and put our kids at risk, abandoning our troops, giving aid to criminals who illegally cross our border. Embracing a convicted pedophile, fake conservative Mary Miller can't be trusted. Conservative Congressman Rodney Davis voted to strengthen our military and give our troops a pay raise. Davis voted for President Trump's wall and to cut off funding for sanctuary cities. And Davis is endorsed by the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police because he's tough on crime. Rodney Davis is the strong conservative that Illinois families can trust.
I'm Rodney Davis, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Rodney for Congress.
Tired of constantly caring for a home exterior that doesn't look as good as it should? You deserve beautiful, low-maintenance James Hardie fiber cement siding. James Hardie gives you gorgeous colors, stands up to Missouri's harsh weather, and lasts decades. At Lakeside Renovation and Design, we're experts in installing America's #1 siding. And our lifetime workmanship warranty gives you peace of mind. Get a lovely, lasting home exterior with Lakeside Renovation and Design. Request a free consultation at 636-978-5000. That's 636-978-5000. And love your home all over again.
Home values are through the roof with buyers paying way over asking price. You'd love to cash out your home's equity, but you're not quite ready to move, and soaring interest rates make cash out refinancing too expensive. Plus, you'll only get a fraction of your home's equity. It makes no sense. I have a smarter option, Truehold.com. Truehold will buy your home for full cash value. And here's the best part. You get to bank all the cash now and continue living in your home as long as you want. It's life-changing. And Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance, too. Let's review. Truehold pays you 100% of your home's value in cash fast. Use your cash to do everything you've dreamed of. Travel, pay off debt, or buy that new right-size home on the golf course. Call 855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com for the smarter, faster way to cash out your home's full value without having to move. 855-300-9993 or go to Truehold.com.
Hi, George Weber. Check out my alter ego, Skip Weber, every Saturday night, 9 to 11. The Saturday Evening Rock Show, the greatest rock and roll show on a talk station in the world. Don't miss it.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studios. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 53 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Bringing you up-to-the-minute traffic like nobody else. Sue Thomas and dependable traffic, driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company. the best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. This is the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. So we have been talking about the Uvalde response, and I bet you that when I say Uvalde, it drives people crazy because most people say Uvalde, but Governor Abbott, Ken Paxton's the AG. Governor Abbott says Uvalde, and Matthew McConaughey, who's from Uvalde, says Uvalde.
Oh, I didn't know he was from Uvalde.
Oh my gosh, were you out of town when he did his thing?
Yeah,
in the White House.
I was.
Okay, there.
That's why.
Pass given.
Yeah.
So did you ever see him go at the White House?
No, I never saw that. I didn't even know that happened.
He went to the White House. Yeah. So Ryan was on vacation. That's why he doesn't know anything about this. But Matthew McConaughey took over the podium for what was it, like 30 minutes or something like that?
It was a long time.
And talked about like what needs to happen next. Included some gun control measures, but also included him being like a Second Amendment supporter. If you're like a two-way person, you probably felt attacked. Brad did. But if you were somebody who understands the value of all the other things that need to be involved, he tried to like tone it down. I don't know that he was successful, and I don't know why Matthew McConaughey has to do it. Whatever. But he says Uvalde, and he's from Uvalde. So I say Uvalde. So if that bothers you, I am apologetic. But that's the way the governor of the state and Matthew McConaughey say it, who's from there.
Okay.
So
well, then you get a pass on that.
Your story.
So roughly, little over a year ago, I was talking with I'm not going to say who it was because he didn't give me permission, but I'll say that a friend of mine who I talk with on a regular basis who is in law enforcement training. So his entire job,
trainer.
He is a trainer of local law enforcement. He goes around the entire country. He may even do internet. I think it's mostly U.S. At least 90% of what he does is in the U.S. And he goes around to local precincts and he trains them. Now his area is narcotics. So he's training them how to look for things and how to prosecute, how to whatever. Here's how you handle these things, because these guys don't always know. Is there a drug ring in my time? I have no idea. They have to learn. But he's in that world of training and knows a lot of other people who do different types of training, who do, for instance, school shooting trainings and stuff like that. He's in that world. He made a joke about Joe Biden. Now, this was a year ago, so this was about 6 months into Joe Biden's presidency. He made a joke that Joe Biden was cutting the budget, and all I heard was Joe Biden cutting the budget. I wasn't paying attention to what he was saying before that. And I said, oh, that's shocking. I've never heard anybody use the term Joe Biden and cutting a budget in the same sentence. And he explained, well, no, I'm referring to the law enforcement side of it. And I was like, oh. He went on to tell me that, while we're watching all of this crazy spending happening, especially at that time, the one thing he was cutting the budget on that they had, because they don't have a lot of control over local police forces. Mm-hmm. They do have control over grant money and over the way that's spent on training. They have decimated the budget of police training.
Yes.
In less than 6 months of the time, now we're about a year and a half in. So I'm not saying that is entirely what's at fault here.
So initially you're saying that the Biden administration had quickly divested.
Pulled out, yeah. And this is while, if you recall, Biden has consistently said, well, I've never said defund the police.
Yeah, this is from the State of the Union.
We should all agree the answer is not to defund the police. It's to fund the police. Fund them. Fund them.
So he said this just March 1st, I think it was, of this year, and he reiterated that. But what does that mean? How does it manifest itself? Do they want to have a bunch of social workers who show up? And it's like, what would a social worker have maybe opened the freaking door at the school?
I don't know. But when we're talking about this Uvalde situation, You're talking about a complete, it looks like a bunch of people running around have no idea what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you relate that to training very directly, because training, let's say you within the last year had gone through a school shooting training, you would know very quickly that the thesis of the whole thing is you go in and you don't stop until it's neutralized. If those trainings aren't happening, it's more likely that these things would happen. And with Biden, I hesitated to go political because this shouldn't be a political issue.
We also don't, your story being anecdotal, don't know that these people had any less training than they were supposed to have.
No, not in Uvalde itself.
This is a separate relational situation to the climate, the political climate today surrounding law enforcement. This is not to say that we know that the Uvalde response was because they were not trained.
But what I can tell you is that insofar as Biden has any power to fund the police, he has defunded the police. He has absolutely taken any federal money that he can spend away from police and away from police training. That is a fact. So whether that plays into this Uvalde situation, we don't know for sure, but it is there.
Think about the next. First of all, Joe Biden is going to be a president for another 2.5 years. The message from the Republican Party, there are so many easy slam dunks to win this next election that whatever the Republican Party decides to do to offer up a solution to get this country back on track needs to be laser focused. No funny business. There's too much at stake. And I don't know how we get through another 2.5 years of this. I truly don't. We don't have the time.
Yeah.
November is a huge, huge deal. Hey, when we come back, we're gonna look at that interview that we did today with Richard Irvin, along with some response that we got from Darren Bailey when he was in here last, and compare the two. Stick around, the 2:00 hour, right around the corner.
Red Roofing, wherever you live, from Chesterfield to Crestwood, Frontenac to Ferguson, Limay to Ladue, Town and Country and more. Warson Woods to Winsville, the one you know. Frederick Roofing, wherever you go. For a hole in your roof, or a whole new roof. Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000. Aren't you tired of hearing ads that say they're the best, they're the experts, blah, 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 just one unsubstantiated claim after another? Well, here are two substantiated claims that actually mean something if you need roof repair or a new roof. With a family-owned business tradition of over 80 years and 80,000 satisfied customers, you can depend on Frederick Roofing, residential or commercial.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof. Frederick Roofing. Frederick Roofing, 645-2000.
I'm Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group. I'm proud to say we are a family business. Through innovative financial tools, my nephew Bob and I are committed to making sure your retirement nest egg is kept safe from market declines. As a matter of fact, we have never lost a dime of our clients' money, and we won't lose any of yours either.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw, and the secret is in linking safely to the market without putting your principal at risk. As we look ahead at the likelihood of increasing volatility in the market, it's important that you protect your nest egg from market losses, as that's the engine that drives your retirement income.
Our family would like to help your family retire comfortably and keep your retirement safe and secure. Call us now for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of my second edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 36 years. Call us now, 314-993-9494, or online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Looking to sell your house without all the hassle and pricey repair costs? Great, because Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis loves buying fix-up homes in any condition, as is, no fees and no commissions. Call 314-782-8000, and Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis will give you a cash offer right now. No strings attached. We buy inherited houses, divorce houses, trashed houses, even those my tenant won't pay rent houses. Call Chris at 314-782-8000 and find out how easy it is to work with us. That's 314-782-8000. Do you think your home will be difficult to sell? easy. Our team will provide you with personal guidance through our short and simple process to turn your house into a pile of gold. Just call Chris at 314-782-8000. 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000. And let Chris worry about everything.
KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk.
An Odyssey station.
The door was not locked. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. The head of the Texas Department of Public Safety today telling a state Senate panel that a classroom door at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, was not locked, as the on-scene commander ordered officers to wait in a hallway for about an hour waiting for a key.
He waited for a key that was never needed.
Texas Department of Public Safety Director Stephen McGraw's testimony runs counter to the school district police chief, who said officers were unable to get into the room as the shooter killed 19 students and 2 teachers. McGraw calling the police response an abject failure. The House January 6th committee today hearing from state officials who fended off Donald Trump's pressure to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger testifying about Trump's call asking him to find nearly 12,000 votes to prevent Joe Biden's election victory. The panel today focusing on how Trump pressured battleground state officials with proposals to reject state tallies and electors fueled by his claims of election fraud. The State Department has confirmed a second American has been killed while fighting for Ukraine.
52-year-old Steven Zabielski, who is from New York State, was killed in fighting May 15th in a combat squad called the Wolverines, attached to the Ukraine army. A State Department spokesman confirming to Fox News and saying in a statement that the government has been in touch with Zabielski's family and provided all possible consular assistance, while also reiterating a warning against American citizens traveling to Ukraine due to the Russian conflict.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. Sales of previously occupied U.S. homes slowed for the 4th consecutive month in May as climbing mortgage rates and prices discouraged many would-be buyers. The National Association of Realtors today reporting sales fell 8.6% from May of last year. America's listening to Fox News.
Is your current home loan the right fit for you? Rising home values mean that you could have more home equity than you might imagine. And if you're considering a refi, an expertly chosen loan from Loan Depot could save you thousands. Ask about their smart term loans, cash out, and over 300 loan options to find just the right mortgage loan for you. Call now, 866-888-LOAN, or go to loandepot.com. Loan Depot, where home means everything. Rates are subject to change. Equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 174457. Licensed in all 50 states.
Giving it your all on the court? Make sure you have the right partner by your side. Highland's Leg Cramps Quick Dissolve Tablets. America's #1 leg cramp relief solution for over 10 years. No water needed, no stomach upset, just fast, effective relief. Also available in caplets. Highland's Leg Cramps, to healthy competition and beyond. Available at Walmart, Walgreens, and CVS. Claims based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's back. Summertime. It's sunny. It's hot with increasing humidity this afternoon. 95 for the high. Tonight, clear skies, warm and humid. 72 for the overnight low. Evening temperatures taking a drop out of the 90s, though. It's a slow process. Tuesday, pure summer. Sunny, hot and humid. 100 degrees Tuesday afternoon. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's happening right here, right now.
You've got people who are very well educated and very well off. Those people talk funny. Latinx, I've never met a Latinx. I've never met a BIPOC.
When they say that adding trillions upon trillions of dollars in additional spending somehow will lower inflation and the deficit, nah.
Right here, right now.
Even the border that is wide open, this president and his team, they blame Donald Trump.
This is 97.1 FM Talk.
Hencher Johnson Orthodontics, HencherJohnsonOrtho.com.
If you were looking for dental care, specifically orthodontic care, I want you to check out Henshaw Johnson Orthodontics and Dr. Jody. When you go to turn over your mouth to somebody to try to straighten that smile, maybe you're a little self-conscious about it. I know grown-ups who have gone to Henshaw Johnson Orthodontics, my mom being one of them, who had teeth that she had straightened with Henshaw Johnson Orthodontics, and it's just kind of a life-changing situation to be able to smile confidently, especially in your grown-up years. You might have thought you kind of passed up the opportunity as a kiddo to get your teeth straightened. Do not think that any longer. Putting yourself into Dr. Jody's hands, you'll be very glad that you did, because that smile, it's just a couple office visits away. Reach out to Henshaw Johnson Orthodontics to learn about all of the high technologically advanced ways that they are helping people exactly like you get the smile that they've always wanted and to protect their orthodontic health. Dr. Jody is kind, she is straightforward, and she is the best in the business when it comes to providing you the orthodontic care that you and your family need. 618-400-0900. That's 618-400-0900. Offices in Columbia and Waterloo. HenshawJohnsonOrtho.com.
This is Andy Berg, board-certified master arborist with Hanson's Tree Service. Maintaining healthy trees in our urban environment is a challenge, and our trees often don't perform how we'd like. Go to hansonstree.com to find out how we can service your trees today.
If you filed a tax extension in April, don't wait until it's too late to handle your tax issues. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm. Every year, thousands of Missourians file extensions when their taxes are due in April. But what people don't know is the extension only moves your deadline to file your return, not to pay your taxes. So if you didn't pay anything back in April, you could now owe taxes plus interest plus penalties. You think you bought yourself time, but really you've just added to the total bill. If this sounds like you, call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. I am a local tax attorney with an A+ BBB rating, and I will meet with you right away to help handle your tax problems quickly. The deadline to file your return after an extension has already passed, so call the Lance Drury Law Firm now before it's too late. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. Call attorney Lance Drury, 314-260-6120, or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Mark Cox Morning Show.
When you discover a new favorite bottle of Cabernet or bourbon at Total Wine, you'll discover a whole lot more. So explore the wondrous selection and totally low prices at TotalWine.com, where you'll love what you find. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. B21.
Tony La Russa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Odyssey is your home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app today to listen to 97.1 FM Talk, even when you don't have a radio. Always streaming at 971talk.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
It's 2:08 here on a Tuesday on 97.1 FM Talk. Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. So we got Trisha in studio with us, along with Ryan Wiggins, Brad, executive producer, of course. Now, the reason the four of us are in here right now is because we're all Illinois residents. And we all know, because it's unavoidable, that the Illinois primary is right around the corner.
Tuesday.
Have any of you voted yet?
No. Have you?
Not
no,
yet.
I haven't.
I may go and vote right after I'm done here.
Are you motivated?
Yeah, I'm motivated.
Why?
Today's the day.
Today is the day. Are you kidding me?
It is.
That interview was really eye-opening. I was listening and was like, wow.
Stop. Nobody
Okay.
knows what you're talking about.
It doesn't matter that they don't know.
He's talking about this interview I did in 2018.
Yeah.
It's just a killer interview.
I just went back on the podcast and I was like, oh my gosh, how did I miss this?
It was about the difference between regular potatoes and sweet potatoes.
It was about those crazy wasabi flavored ones they're doing now. This
Is
interview.
that crazy clown voice that you were talking about?
No, that was Carcass Clown.
Carcass Clown.
Yeah.
I missed a lot.
We were talking about that off air. You wouldn't have even heard it.
Like, you could have been in here and still not know what he was talking about.
So nobody knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what we're talking about. We had Richard Irvin, the mayor of Aurora, second largest city in the state of Illinois, who's running for governor. You've all seen Richard Irvin on the ads. You've heard him. You've seen Darren Bailey on the ads. You've heard him. We know that J.B. Pritzker and the Democrats are investing lots of money in this campaign. And one thing that Richard Irvin said in his interview, and he's absolutely right, is the Democrats think that Darren Bailey is easier to beat than Richard Irvin. Anybody in here think that that's a fallacy?
I think it's a fallacy.
Wait, are you saying it's a fallacy that they think that?
Democrats are spending money in the Republican primary because they believe that Darren Bailey is an easier candidate to beat than Richard Irvin.
That is factually true.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
They are absolutely doing that.
So he brought up the mudslinging in this 1225 interview that we did today, and how the Democrats are very invested in the idea that Richard Irvin's the candidate to beat. They feel like they would have a more difficult time beating Richard Irvin than they would Darren Bailey. I actually do agree with that statement, that I think that they will have a more difficult time on the timeline that we're talking about right now. If you are right here on June 21st, I think that it's possible that Richard Irvin would be tougher to beat than Darren Bailey.
I would have thought that, but I just don't know now. It very well could be true because of Chicago. I also believe there's a chance that Darren Bailey might be more difficult just because of absolute base turnout.
You have to think about, when did the Democrats start pushing Darren Bailey? Like, on the timeline, because how long have we been getting in our mailboxes flyer after flyer after flyer that are obviously funded by not Darren Bailey saying he should be the candidate to win the primary? I mean, that's been happening for some time. There's an invested party that believes that Darren Bailey should win the primary. The Democrats are calculating that. And if you're looking at voter turnout and you're thinking, in Aurora, which is right, it's Northern Illinois, and Chicago, is Richard Irvin going to bring out more votes than Darren Bailey? I, for a very long time, think the answer is yes. However, I will say that Darren Bailey, who was in studio with us when you were on vacation, was that 2 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks ago, June 6th. It's on the podcast, folks, and you can watch it on the Andy Frey YouTube channel. It's all up there. Darren Bailey's presence in the studio that day, I said it to Brad, I said it to my family, that was the first time, and I have been doing events with Darren Bailey as a state representative and then a state senator. I've been to Effingham to be with him and a bunch of other state reps that have been pushing for some common sense reform. I'll tell you this, it was not a Trump-inspired movement. It was a Trump parallel movement. They were doing these things in Southern Illinois, and I could list off, I don't want to miss anybody, but there's about 6 or 7. I actually have a poster of, I think it's the Magnificent Seven, that there's a poster board that somebody made of them. Isn't that a movie? Magnificent Seven?
Yeah.
And it's these 7 reps who have made pushing back against the system in Illinois. And it's from pre-COVID, 2018. I think I might have still been doing my Saturday show. So it could have been before 2018. I've seen Darren Bailey do what he does. He is incredibly good at representing his district. He is incredibly good at being a representative, at being a state senator. My question has always been, can he translate on a statewide level?
It's a good question.
Your reaction to that? He's a Southern farmer
I got the
boy.
same questions you do.
Yeah. What about you, Trisha?
Well, I think the Democrats are probably looking at it like they did with the 2016 election. And was Joe Biden every Democrat's favorite candidate? No. But this is kind of how the Republicans probably need to look at it in Illinois. Who has the best chance against Pritzker?
Mm-hmm.
And the Democrats probably look at somebody like Richard Irvin and think that he presents a bigger threat to the majority, and he may be able to win.
To Pritzker specifically. He may
be able to siphon some of those Democratic votes, assuming that Republicans are going to vote for anybody but Pritzker.
Disenchanted Democrats would happily vote for Richard Irvin.
Right.
Would they vote for Bailey? Okay, you know how much I watch polls, and I'm not talking about Illinois polls here. I'm talking about all kinds of polls. There's a very interesting thing happening in Pennsylvania that speaks to what's happening in Illinois. You have, on one hand, Dr. Oz, who's very much a middle of the road, if you want to call him a Republican. And then on the other hand, on the governor's race in Pennsylvania, you have Doug Mastriano, who is very, very hardcore Republican, like MAGA Republican. Those two guys won their primaries simultaneously in Pennsylvania. So it's a very interesting state to watch because it's a swing state. And Illinois, you wouldn't even put in that category. You put it left of that, of course. But those two guys polling right now, Mastriano is polling better than Dr. Oz in the general election. So it made me think, maybe, just maybe, it's possible that when you have the base fired up, the grassroots fired up, you may actually do better in a general than if you elect a Mitt Romney or somebody.
Well, you can do very well in a primary with grassroots support that doesn't translate to a general. Because you can, you're comparing what you love and you hate about yourself. You know that. And then in the end, it's just a matter, like anybody who's going to show up and vote in a primary, like what percentage of those people vote in the general? But you need more than that to win. So, I have known Darren Bailey for a long time. People ask me all the time, Annie, what's true? Darren Bailey is a legitimate, genuine person. For me, as a voter, not as a talk show host, but for me as a voter in the state of Illinois, when Darren Bailey says something about himself, I don't believe he's a liar. I don't think he has it in him to be a liar. I don't think that he has it in him to purposely mislead anybody. I trust him. I think he is genuine. So if you hear what Darren Bailey is saying about what he's going to do, I'll put it this way. When I hear Darren Bailey say what he's going to do, I know he's going to try to do that. Will he be successful? I don't know. When he was in here last, one of the things he said to me was specifically, he gave me a list of day one things, which I asked Richard Irvin in this interview earlier. He gave me a list of day one things that he would do. And part of it was like reworking all of ISBE, which is the Illinois State Board of Education, which would be massive. To remove those people, they're all governor appointed people. That is a massive day one initiative that the governor gets to handle. You've got a mayor of a large city. Like I always think governors, I kind of like the idea of a governor to presidency because you're managing a state. Now what you're managing is similar but bigger. A mayor of a big city to a governorship, or if you're Pete Buttigieg, mayor to king of the universe, that translates a little bit different than somebody who's been in a legislative body. Not to say that that's that it doesn't work, but somebody who's in a legislative body stumping for policy, that's different than managing the storefront. It's just different. So today, one of the things that I hear all the time from people is, Annie, can you please cut through the noise and the muck and the mudslinging and just tell me what is true? When Darren Bailey was in the studio, I mean, how many times have we heard that I might have voted for Biden? I mean, I can hear the cadence in my head.
Robot Bailey might have voted for Biden.
Yeah.
Might have voted for Biden.
I might have voted for Biden. I might have voted for Biden. Yeah. I've asked him to explain that, and I've asked him to explain why he would have said that. But here's the question that I hadn't heard anyone else asking Darren Bailey. Did you vote for Joe Biden in 2020? Because is that not all that matters? Because isn't the ad put together, I might have voted for Biden, isn't that being put out there so that you believe he's a rhino? That you believe that, you think Darren Bailey is the Trump candidate? Is that what you think? He might have voted for Biden. Listen, it's in his own words. He's talking about the 2008 Illinois primary. That's what Darren Bailey was talking about in that clip. So the question is, who did Darren Bailey support for president in 2020? And I asked him that. And I asked him about 2016. That's what I asked Darren Bailey on June 6th when he was in studio here with me. And since I asked him that, I thought it would be fair to ask the same question of Richard Irvin. who was on the show with us today, because there are questions about, he has his response when you say, people don't know what to believe because there are people asserting that you are not a Republican. And he has a good response. He's saying there are a lot of prominent Democrats who have worked very hard to make sure that I didn't get elected. And that is a valid response. But who did you vote for in these elections? Here's from today. Who did you vote for in the 2016 presidential election?
I have always supported President Trump.
Did you vote for him?
Yes, I did.
Did you vote for him in 2020?
Yes, I was a Trump delegate in 2020.
Yeah.
Think about that.
There you go, folks. So I'm going to ask you the same question if you will give us an answer. In 2016's presidential election, who did you support?
Listen, I am Republican. In general elections, I always vote for Republicans.
Did you vote for Trump in 2016 or 2020? It's a pretty yes or no question.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a Republican. I always vote Republican in general elections.
So you voted for Trump?
I always vote Republican in general elections. Absolutely.
Okay. So I tried. I asked the question, and if you don't think I got an answer from him, then you were not listening. To me, that implies that he wrote somebody in. I don't know what he did. He says he voted for a Republican. Maybe he wrote himself in. Maybe he wrote Ryan Wiggins in. I don't know what Richard Irvin did, but he certainly didn't give the obvious answer. Yes, I voted for Trump. I will also say that I know that there are people who will hear that and say Richard Irvin likely didn't vote for Trump. And that will play well going into the general election with Democrats who might transfer over and support him for not admitting or for conceding or for being proud to say, I did not vote for Donald Trump. So I know that most of the people listening here to the Annie Frey Show right now will go, oh my gosh, he didn't vote for Donald Trump. To me, he's telling the truth, maybe not the whole truth, but not lying there. He certainly isn't saying who he did vote for, but that is, admitting to your support for Donald Trump is something that has benefits and consequences all at the same time. But when we have ads playing over and over and over, implying that Darren Bailey might have voted for Biden, you have in his own words right there that he supported and voted for Donald Trump in 2016 and 2020. And I asked Richard Irvin today, 4 times, maybe?
4 was my count.
4? 4 times today did you vote for Trump? And he never said yes. He could have. The easy thing here, folks, is to say, yes, I did. If he didn't say it, that's either because he didn't want to say that he did or he didn't vote for him.
Which, does that play better in a general in Illinois?
Maybe, but you got to get there.
True. Very true.
You got to get there. That's the big key.
But going back to that whole Biden phenomenon, are Republicans would they be better to coalesce around somebody that is more likely to win in a general if the ultimate goal is get rid of Pritzker?
I'm going to answer that question, and I'm going to answer it on the other side of the break, because there is a very, very key point. You know how I said on the timeline here, where we are June 21st, where we are at 2:22 p.m. on June 21st, and where I'm going to tell you we are at June 21st at about 2:25 p.m. Those are different points on this timeline, and it really, really matters. I'm going to give you more thoughts on this primary, and this has tentacles that reach outside of Illinois, folks. Something's happening, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on it in a second.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. Decision 2022 is happening. Are you ready to decide? The primary candidates are here because they want to talk to you. Decision 2022. Coverage sponsored by Air Comfort Service and TR Hughes Homes.
MySlim180.com is the website. If you are looking to finally shed the weight that you've been carrying around, it makes your knees creak when you go upstairs. It makes you lethargic. It makes you not really happy about yourself. Those might be things you're experiencing. It's all stuff that I experienced. Granted, I've had 4 babies in my 38 years, and it took a toll on my body. And now, so I'm getting to be middle-aged. Like, I will almost be Ryan Wiggins' age soon, which is on the other side of that big, tall hill that I can't see him on right now, because he's you're making some great noises over there. If you're looking to improve yourself And it doesn't even have to be about your waistline or their pant size or whatever. A lot of times it's just for your mental health, how you feel about you. That's what I needed to do for me. I've been in a swimsuit this summer and felt good about myself, been able to spend time with my kids and not be self-conscious about myself, with energy behind all of these activities that I'm confident that I can participate in. If you're looking to lose weight, will you please give Slim 180 a try? You got to just sit down and talk to them. Free consultation is save 35% on all of their programs right now. Mention the Annie Frey Show when you contact them. Folks, give it a try. It worked for me. It'll work for you. Online at myslim180.com.
So we were trying to come up with a title for this podcast. Let's have a shorter name that's catchier, that kind of speaks to you. And my wife, Gretchen, says, what about Hey Maine? Hey Maine. Hey Maine. So I gave in, just like I gave in when she wanted a cat. But I get to keep my subtitle, the Kenny Mayne Talks to Famous People podcast. So it's Hey Maine, the Kenny Mayne Talks to Famous People podcast. Get that wherever you get your podcasts. I think that's the tagline.
There's a big red barn where you say free. Norm's Bargain Barn. On discount windows, doors, and things. Norm's Bargain Barn.
Hi, I'm Norm Wilkie. Come see my new selection of Amish cabinetry made by my good Amish friends at Countrywood Products. We now stock 5 styles of cabinetry for you to choose from.
When you need to save on discount windows, doors, and cabinetry, come to Norm's Bargain Barn, with locations in Shiloh and Fenton at the bottom of Gravois Bluffs. Visit normsbargainbarn.com.
That's normsbargainbarn.com.
This is Mark Cox for my trusted friend and realtor, Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's the agent I've been recommending for years now. Take my recommendation and call her, because if you're planning to sell your home in this crazy seller's market, you don't want to leave a single dollar on the table. You're going to love working with Gloria, and here's why. She'll guarantee to sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it. Guaranteed in writing. Her secret, well, she already has the buyers. Thousands of them looking for homes in your price range in your neighborhood. Lawrence and Shelby sold their St. Louis home in just 3 days at $17,000 over asking price with multiple offers. That's when their previous agent had produced 0 results. They chose Gloria. You can too. Call her today at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. There are a lot of smart business people out there making smart decisions by getting Rhino Shield. The latest one, the Central Illinois Care Services, they have decided to go with Rhino Shield on the outside of their building so they won't have to worry about maintenance from now on. The list is long. Joe's Tire out in Sullivan, Stonehill Wineries in Herman. They've all got Rhino Shield on their buildings. You can have it on your business or your house. Just call 877-25-RHINO. Let Darren come out and give you a free estimate as to what it would cost to get this great product on your home. 25-year transferable warranty, 100% waterproof, 8 to 10 times thicker than paint. And as a satisfied customer, 15 years in, I can tell you it looks as good as the day they put it on. You're going to love Rhino Shield. Call them right now. Tell them you heard about it on the Mark Cox Morning Show. Again, 877-25-RHINO or 877-25RHINO.com.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. I haven't even mentioned the YouTube live chat poll once yet today, so I'm just going to ask everybody to go flood the Annie Frey YouTube channel right now and vote in the live chat poll so that Hannah has something to report to us in the next segment. Here's the poll. What is your biggest emotion towards the country today? Anger, sadness, hopefulness, or apathy? You just go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, and in the live chat section right there where people are commenting on the show as it goes along, you can just vote in the poll right there and be heard. Leave a comment if you're so inclined. What's your biggest emotion towards the country today? Anger, sadness, hopefulness, or apathy? So we were talking about the Illinois race for governor, and we're talking about the Democratic Party is investing in Darren Bailey's campaign because the implication is
J.B. Pritzker wants to run against Darren Bailey and not against Richard Irvin. When the Cardinals are in the playoffs, you're cheering for the easier team to beat. Like if you're going to win in the division series, you want to play the weaker team. Maybe the weaker team has two great pitchers, but you can beat the other two pitchers or whatever. And so you're trying to jockey position to figure out or, put all of your fandom hope into playing the team you want to play. In politics, people can invest in making that outcome happen. Here's what I think is happening in the Illinois Republican primary. And here's what I think is happening across the country in other places very similar to the blue states like Virginia, like the state of Illinois, and other places. Darren Bailey has had a surge as of late, part and parcel because of the notoriety that the Democrats have invested in lifting up Darren Bailey's candidacy. I don't think that Darren Bailey sees the surge he's seen without the help of the Democrats who want him to be there. However, go back to the June 6th interview I did with Darren Bailey. We talked about this pretty much right at the end of the interview. He was in there for 2 segments, in the studio here for 2 segments. And I asked him, I'm like, the Democrats seem to want you to be the guy because they think that they can beat you easier. And he says, I welcome that. I would like to be the one to beat J.B. Pritzker. He's not intimidated by that. He's taking it on as a challenge. And who wouldn't? Like, who wouldn't see that and be like, oh, you think I'm the easier one to beat? Listen, you don't come out of Southern Illinois as a farmer and get as far as Darren Bailey has gotten without actual grassroots, nameless support. And by nameless, I mean average Southern Illinois folks in his district who go, he's doing a really great job, and I'm going to support him. And when he goes to be a state senator, wins handily. I don't even know if he had an opponent. He has the support of these people, and it has grown. And it was like I was telling the guys off air earlier in the show, grassroots grow. And they continue to grow, and they continue to grow, and they continue to grow. If the Democrats want to come and throw fertilizer and water on the grassroots movement that started with Darren Bailey, don't for a second think that the Democratic Party went out and found Darren Bailey and planted it into his ear. Hey, you could be the guy. You could really do something with the state of Illinois. You could make this happen. You could be the person who comes and brings common sense back to the Republican Party. The Democrats didn't do that. He did all of that on its own. And then they saw Richard Irvin, who I think is a very formidable candidate for J.B. Pritzker. And if Richard Irvin wins this primary, I will happily get behind Richard Irvin to beat J.B. Pritzker. Richard Irvin was the obvious candidate to beat from the beginning. But as we've moved on this timeline and the grassroots that is real and is tangible and has receipts, has already won on multiple levels in Southern Illinois, as that has continued to grow. And as, Richard Irvin said in our interview today and has in interviews before, that he's the candidate to beat. J.B. Pritzker does not want to run against Richard Irvin. The actions of the Democratic Party's investment in Darren Bailey that came after Darren Bailey's very well-sowed grassroots in this state just might make him a force to be reckoned with, that the Democrats thought they were Frankensteining together and they can no longer control once it gets to the general. The polling shows Darren Bailey with a very sizable lead in this primary. And I'm here to tell you, I said this to my dad this past weekend. If Darren Bailey wins this governor race, it will be in the top 10 best days of my life.
Wow.
Listen, Bruce Rauner, one of my good friends who I've known all my life, told me that he voted for Bruce Rauner last time around because Illinois was going to hell in a handbasket again. I mean, we were raising taxes. They raised the state income tax by like 50% or something at the time. And it was Quinn, and it was a disaster. And he won the entire governorship by winning 3 counties, 2 of them less than 100 votes. And I kissed him. He's like, I voted for Rauner. And I was like, what? Because he's a huge lefty. And I kissed him on the cheek, and I was like, I can't believe he was just like, what? He never voted Republican again. Bruce Rauner was the biggest disappointment as a Republican because he lost so disastrously, not even as a Republican. Like, you didn't even feel like you gave it your best shot and it didn't work out. It was like you were the most watered down version of what we have on the left. Would it have been better if he would have won re-election? Of course it would have. Less babies would be murdered right now, but still, he was a pro-choice governor and he did govern as such. If Darren Bailey gets into the governor's mansion, hold on tight, folks. It is going to be a wild ride. And I'm telling you right now, Darren Bailey's best chance to be the governor of Illinois, maybe in our lifetime, or a Darren Bailey's chance to be the governor of the state of Illinois. It will never be greater than it will be this November.
Well, that's a fact. The environment is perfect for that to happen if it's going to happen.
Well, I think it's really interesting, too, the point you're making with the Democrats in trying to position Darren Bailey as the guy they can beat, prop him up, may have created a monster they can't control. Like, that could be the thing.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
What is it Napoleon said? Never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake.
Yeah, we all know everything that Napoleon said, and that is one of the things that he said.
Ryan.
Let me ask you this: if he gets
I thought you were
in,
Napoleon Dynamite. I haven't seen that movie in a while.
I think I know more about Napoleon.
He said vote for Pedro.
Yeah, we're not voting for Pedro.
Vote for Pedro.
If he gets
I'd
in
vote for Pedro over JB Pritzker
to
Every
the
time.
governor's mansion, do you think he will be and I don't want to say DeSantis, but somebody who's really bold like that?
Bold.
He won't back down.
No.
He's going to go all the way all the time.
No. He knows what is right to do. He's going to govern. He will have 4 years. And he'll have 4 years to prove to the state of Illinois that the direction that they've been spiraling for decades is obnoxiously wrong. I mean, like, when you come to think, like, what was the last, like, Republican or last conservative thing that the state of Illinois did? Actually, let me rephrase that. Name a conservative thing that the state of Illinois has ever done. Abraham Lincoln.
We voted down
Ronald Reagan.
We voted down the progressive tax.
But that's what the people
But
did.
the people did that, not the leaders.
The people said, knock it off.
Yeah. Before that, was it the leadership that reduced taxes before they re-raised them? Remember?
No.
I think this was probably 15 years ago that they actually did. That might have been a Republican that did that, though. That might have been whoever was before Quinn. I don't know. I'm getting lost. But there was...
That's Blagojevich.
Yeah, it wasn't Blagojevich either. But they did reduce the state income tax, I think in the early to mid 2000s, but then they raised it. So that might be the last conservative thing they did.
It's unbelievable. And you add to that, just not like what, let's name some conservative things that have happened in the state of Illinois. Name the bellwether progressive things that the state of Illinois has been doing. And listen, Chicago's the 3rd largest city in the state. We're not going to turn Chicago red. How about we turn Chicago a common sense version of blue? Because Chicago gets to be Chicago, folks. And Chicago is about 60% of the population of the state of Illinois. That's worth noting. Yes, Google it. There's a lot of people in Chicago compared to the rest of the state. But we still count. We still matter. And there is common sense governance that has been so vacant from the state of Illinois that on a national scale right now, federally, we're seeing Joe Biden put these types of things in at the federal level. I mean, when I hear Josh Hawley on Tucker Carlson last night talking about the gun control package, folks, there's no bill yet. If you're panicking about this bill, set your panic aside and we'll pick it up later, I'm sure. But don't panic about a bill that isn't written yet. But Josh Hawley is on Tucker Carlson last night, and he's talking about how, like, I know how this is going to play in the state of Missouri. And I'm like, I know how this is going to play in the state of Illinois. It's not going to be good. I mean, to just think about how drastic Illinois reacts to these things, and to know that Missouri is just sitting right over here with all your freedoms just pouring out of your hand, floating in the air, liberty and justice for all.
So much money that they don't know what to do with it.
Constitutional stuff. You got
Like, what do we do
Republicans
with all
coming
these
out of your
billions of
ears.
dollars?
Gosh, this is jealousy speaking. Just so you know, it's you should feel flattered. I know that's how it sounded when Gilbert Gottfried said it.
Yes, such
Everybody
a way with
listening is
words.
going, I feel flattered right now.
When I'm yelling at my husband, I tell him he should feel flattered.
Which he does.
He doesn't. I mean, folks, listen, this is a moment in time. And the midterm election is very, very close. The primary is Tuesday. So Illinois, you can vote right now. I need to vote because I'm on vacation next week. I'm going to vote this week. Haven't voted yet. The general election taking place in November is 140 days away. And if you look at the direction this country is headed, and if you're somebody who lives in the city of St. Louis or the county of St. Louis or the state of Illinois, I mean, if you're living in the county and you're looking at St. Charles going, what are all those free people doing over there? Now you know how we feel. We have to look at those free people over the county to see what freedom actually looks like. And then you go out there and you just look around and you're like, well, this feels good.
This is nice.
This is lovely.
Oh,
We have to go up on that
shrubbery.
bridge that overlooks the East St. Louis fountain to look into St. Louis and do that.
Is this the
It's
one
not even
that
easy
you
for
drove
us.
down when you were Ubering and realized you were on a sidewalk 10 miles later?
Yeah, I found that. I found lots of stuff that
And
day.
then backed up for like 6 miles.
That's one of the worst segments on the history of this show.
One great.
That is your perspective.
Wasn't that like real or fake news or something?
Yeah,
and
I have a friend.
It
I
was-
have a friend who. Yeah. And the whole story was about himself. And there was no end. I mean, I don't even know how the story ended.
He was driving backwards for like 10 miles.
He found a hobo graveyard.
I did.
I'm mad that we know so much about
Yeah.
this. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, we should have a worst of segment. We have a best of show. We should put together a worst of show, and it'll just be wicked the whole time. My next day off.
It'll be next time George Norrie takes off. We'll put it overnight.
You're listening to the worst of the Annie Fry Show, hosted by Ryan Wiggins. Nope, it's just stuff that he's done on the actual show. I'm just telling you, folks, this is the down where we go for the end zone. And I am so sick and tired of being told how Republicans have to play to win in these elections. Because, folks, look around you. They're not winning. Try something different that you believe in. And if you believe in it enough, show up and bring people to the polls. Sign up to be a poll watcher. Sign up to represent the candidate that you support. And you have 140 days to go balls to the wall. Is that something we could say?
I think you have to say nads to the wall.
Dads?
Nads.
Nads.
Okay, that you can't say. Go ahead and say balls all day.
I'm just
Nads
I'm
to the
looking out
pants.
for you with the FEC.
No, nads is a no-go. Balls all the way.
Okay.
If that's all you take away from this show, then we'll have a worst of on the air tomorrow and a new host on Thursday.
Take away this. Sign up to be a poll watcher. Please sign up to be a poll watcher.
Go to your county Republican organization and say, I got to get involved. Annie's making me do this. Talk to your county Republicans. And then seriously, reach out to me on the Annie Fry Show Facebook or on Twitter and tell me what you're doing and what your response is, because we'll keep spreading the news. Guys, it's our time. Go for the end zone. We'll be right back.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. The Mark Reardon Show.
Jason Plummer, he is an Illinois state senator. We need to make sure that we stand up for common sense laws that protect the worker, but also protect businesses from extortion-style lawsuit abuse.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Michael's Flooring Outlet website is igotfloor.com. One of the things I like about igotfloor.com is that you can go there and find out how to get your free estimate on your flooring, residentially, commercially, whatever you need it for. They have all of the options available for you there. If you're looking to transition your home and update it quite a bit, and maybe you want to go from carpet to a hardwood look, there's a lot of technology out there that if you haven't bought flooring for a while, you might not know about it. And that's why you go to a place like Michael's Flooring Outlet, specifically Michael's Flooring Outlet, because listen, they know everything about flooring. They don't sell paint on Tuesdays and flooring on Fridays. They know the flooring that they're selling inside out, and that helps you make an educated decision about what to do in your home or your place of business. When you are looking to maybe finally move back to carpet and you're looking for top quality brands like the Smart Strand, the Mohawk line, they can show you how this carpet can transform a space in your house or, like I said, your place of business. If you are looking to make a flooring purchase soon, please consider the fine folks who support this show and this station at Michael's Flooring Outlet. You find them online at igotfloor.com.
Did you know there's a Space Channel?
One of the most exciting projects in the solar system.
Space Channel's got movies, original series, news, music, and so much more.
We have come to visit you in peace. Now we're getting to what they call the moment of truth.
Download the Space Channel app on your connected TVs and mobile devices. Just go to the App Store and search Space Channel. Do it now. It's free.
Space Channel. Front row seat to the final frontier.
This is a great time of the year to upgrade the energy efficiency in your home with my friends at Window World. Mark Cox here to tell you more about my experience with Window World. They replaced a couple of windows at my house. They were just panes of glass. We wanted to be able to get some airflow into the master bathroom. They came out, they gave us a free estimate, and then had the windows at seams installed in no time. Very professional. Lifetime warranty I get, and you get an extra double strength glass on their replacement windows that's not common. So you're getting a great price, simply the best for less. They do front entry doors, rear entry doors if you're looking to replace that back door or sliding glass door in your home. They've got a great selection at Window World. They're also right now offering 18 months, same as cash financing, of course, with approved credit. The preferred window of the St. Louis Blues. 314-993-1800, windowworld.com.
When did elections become a game? Like hide and seek for grown-ups. Tricky grown-ups. Look at Rodney Davis. Do you ever hear Davis talk about his votes to send your tax dollars to Planned Parenthood? True. Davis voted for taxpayer funding of Planned Parenthood. 4 times. 4 times Davis voted for taxpayer funding of Planned Parenthood, the biggest abortion provider in the country. You won't find that on his campaign website. See? Hide and seek. There's more. Davis once bragged, quote, "I can't wait to work with Nancy Pelosi." And then Davis voted with Pelosi 1,077 times. Rodney Davis. You know his game. Davis talks like a Republican here and votes like a Democrat in Washington. Paid for by Conservative Outsider PAC, copac.us, and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Conservative Outsider PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Everybody knows you gotta get it at Clement. Everybody knows you gotta get it at Clement. Find the car you want, new or used. Get it at Clement, get pre-approved. Everybody knows you gotta get it at Clement. Everybody knows you gotta get it at Clement. ClementAutoGroup.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Get your HVAC system ready for summer with a cooling system check included with all maintenance plans from Air Comfort Service. Maintenance plans start at $15 per month. To get into your comfort zone, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Back in the car and back on the road. We're with you. Dependable traffic with Sue Thomas. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company. The best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
any inside information, Bill, but I've read about this, and it looks to me like it's just another example of a bunch of agenda journalists trying to make Democrats look good and Republicans look bad. And that's why I've said in another context, that's why the American people they're not fooled. They trust the media now like they trust gas station sushi.
Well, it just so happens that we have a gas station sushi expert on the show. Ryan, how much do you trust gas station sushi, and which one?
Here's
Don't
the thing.
make me say sushi.
Senator
sushi
Kennedy
again.
is right because gas station sushi is not great.
Can you buy sushi at a gas station?
You can buy. I've never actually. Well, maybe I've
That
seen
sounds like a sandwich that used to be a sandwich, but has morphed into something that looks more like sushi.
it. What you usually see is sushi that was prepared a few days ago that they try to make last longer, because sushi you have to eat the day it's prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the next day you might be able to still eat it.
No, within hours.
Maybe. But I mean, we're
Finish
talking
your
day of. So if you have sushi that's prepared ahead of time and they try to make it last a week, and some grocery stores do this, it's just bad.
Gas station sushi is a phrase. And I'm just wondering how many gas stations are investing in selling sushi.
Don't.
Hopefully none.
Does it happen?
I've never seen it. I've seen it at grocery stores.
No, they do. I mean, once in a while they do sell it in like a big gas station that's also kind of a convenience mart.
Mm-hmm.
But just don't do it. If you're ever gonna eat sushi, and look, this is coming from me. I'll eat anything, and I like sushi. Just give it up. That you'll never find good.
We found where Wiggins draws the line.
You got to have a sushi chef making your sushi that day.
Do you have a sushi chef?
I have a sous chef, but not a sushi chef. He lives in our basement. He's okay. He's cheap.
What's his name?
Tony.
It's not Todd.
We call him Big Tony.
He's a midget. Can you say that? Oh my gosh.
No.
Yes, you can. Little people. Is that the right thing?
Yep.
Freeberg?
T is a little person.
But you can't say the wrong thing, then say the right thing and say, I'm fine.
No, that's what you do all of the time. Freeberg is still the midgets, right?
Yes.
That was national news. That was on the O'Reilly Factor.
Yeah, there was midget wrestling at the Hustler Club one weekend.
What do you know about this?
I know that it was.
What was it like?
Does that have to do with this conversation?
Yeah, because little people went to Freeburg and protested. So there were pictures of our superintendent and the principal meeting with shorter than average people regarding the appropriation of the word midget, but it happened to coincide with the midget wrestling at the Hustler Club. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that there was an influx of small people in town.
Do you have those
just
pictures?
Tagged on this. It was in the paper.
This requires more time than we have.
And were you saying that the principal was meeting with shorter than average people, thinking that they were little people? Like he was confused that they were just short?
I don't think we should talk about this anymore. Just Google it. I don't know what you're going to Google because you're going to get in trouble. Whatever you type in. My apologies.
Either way, don't get gas station sushi and listen to Senator Kennedy.
What a segment, guys.
Yeah.
Really good.
Thank you.
How about the YouTube poll?
How about it?
All right. The poll today is, what is your biggest emotion towards the country today? Anger, sadness, hopefulness, or apathy? 140 votes.
That's good considering I mentioned it once. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Annie.
I really appreciate the support.
49% of the people said they are feeling anger towards the country today. 38% of the people said they're feeling sadness. 38. Yep. 8% of the people said they're feeling hopefulness, and 5% said they're feeling apathy.
5%. Can you really measure how many people are apathetic about something?
5% barely were able to click on that.
Do those apathetic people flock to the poll?
Oh, gosh. They're just like hitting it with the back of their hand until it hits a button. I hope I got apathy. 'Cause that's the way I feel.
I think that might be one of my favorite voices you do.
Carcass Clown has a laugh. I was walking around doing we need to talk about Carcass Clown in a different segment.
What's your emotion?
Hopefulness. But just barely over sadness.
Obviously.
It really, I would say initially it's sadness.
Sadfulness.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
The first thing I feel is like, just sad because you know how much of this is self-inflicted.
Yep.
And it just depresses you. But I still think, real conversation here, I really think God's got a plan and that we got to go through the hard stuff to get to the good stuff. And I still think,
man, that's biblical,
that he has got a good plan here.
What do you think?
I'm with Ryan. I'm hopefulness, but I'm just a smidge above anger.
Okay.
You know, I'm angry at how everything turned out, but I am hopeful that things will be good in the future.
So you're hopeful but sad, and you're hopeful but angry.
Angry.
Okay. Trisha, what do you think?
I'm apathetic because of all of those things. It's like a combination of.
Are you just taking all of that and setting it aside and saying, I got to deal with
I'm
my
putting
stuff?
all of that into the same like emotion, and I think, I have this like overwhelming sense of exhaustion
like when
about the whole thing.
Mix all the colors together and you get like gray.
And I get apathy. That would have been my vote.
What about you, Hannah?
Anger.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What about? What culminates to get you to the point where you're past apathy and you're thinking, man, this really irks me?
Cheeseless quesadillas.
Yes.
Deflation.
I feel like this is all plotted and planned, and it makes me angry to think that this administration is purposely doing the things that they are.
Yeah.
To hurt our country, more so the right side.
Well,
that makes me angry.
See, and it's interesting to me that apathy is so low, besides the fact that, like we said, apathetic people are not usually motivated to vote in YouTube live chat polls. But thanks for the 5% who did.
Trisha?
I
couldn't bring myself to do it.
She just let her head fall on the mouse. See what happens.
I am probably 50-50 more in the Brad camp of I am angry, but because I'm angry and I'm looking at what's happening, I do have hope, and hope is around the corner. And, you know, I say this on the show regularly. Do not put your hope in a politician.
Mm-mm.
There's no political party that's going to get elected here that is going to solve the problems. If Republicans take over at every race, we will have new problems. They will be Republican problems that we've had every time the Republicans have controlled every branch of government, and then they can't tie their own shoes. So I see stuff happening in the grassroots level.
Mm-hmm.
I see people being involved and mad. Hannah is 20 years old and is invested in this. And you talk about being with friends and having these conversations as well. Like there are people who are lifting their heads up from apathy or because this has infiltrated their own lives. And that gives me hope. But if I didn't have that, I would just be angry.
You have to be lifting your head up right now in the country. How can you not have your head up right
I'm
now?
hopeful at how many people are now questioning what they're told.
Yeah.
That
There
is
you go.
so big.
That's huge.
100%. Well, we didn't get to your comments today, but thank you, Hannah, for presenting that. We have that YouTube live chat pull up each evening. It just depends on what time I get home and get rid of all of the kids into bed. But we always appreciate your participation there. Go listen to that Richard Irvin interview. I am going to tweet as soon as we get off the air at Annie Frey Show your link to go listen to it right now. Stick around. The Mark Reardon Show is next.
Looking to sell your house without all the hassle and pricey repair costs? Great, because Chris Buys Homes